I like the Dockers' chances tonight. Melbourne have won the toss, and they're going right to left. Bounce from umpire McLaren, who officiated in the state game last week. White down to Prescott. Hurried kick inside the centre square. Bounces out towards the wing. Hopgood slaps it in front, playing his 100th game. There goes the kick from Ward down towards half forward. Chopped off by Parker. Runners towards the outer side. Gale back in the side, takes the mark. He's on the wing now, kicks it down towards half forward. Lovely kick too. Brad Wirra has marked about 35 metres out, directly in front.
Well, it's an unusual place for Brad Wirra to get. More often known as the defender, and particularly in his time with the Bulldogs. Those 60-odd games there, but he just floats into the right spot, and really the Melbourne players not guarding the area. They're all more intent on watching their direct opponents.
Only 5 career goals. It'll be a milestone for him.
I think he's missed. He has. No, he's got the goal. No response.
Well, we'll take that as a milestone, Pete. It's not too often that back pockets get down and have a go, and he did it very well.
They usually tell everybody about him too when they kick him, Terry.
That's right. He's gone straight back into the centre. He's doing a job in there with Chris Bond going back to take Jeff Farmer in the back pocket, which I think is a very good move because Bond very disciplined. It's just freed Wirra up here, and Melbourne yet probably not quite ready to be able to match him up directly, and so snuck in very nicely.
So a great start by the Dockers. That's the start that Damien Drum would have certainly wished for. Bandy up high, doesn't get a decisive knock. Fletcher's kick nullified. Again Bandy across the body, just clears the square. They come from all directions. Hopgood couldn't get away the effective hand pass. O'Reilly was in there. Rigoni went without the football. It's all tied up on centre wing. Shane Woden out there, number 22, hasn't missed a game since 1997. And as Dennis mentioned, great night for football here. And a terrific day in Melbourne weather-wise. Bandy and White. White against his old side. Free kick to the Dockers. Daniel Bandy at right centre wing. So the Dockers swing into attack again. Brad Wirra got their first goal. Who's going to get their second? Will it be O'Reilly? Onto the left. Terrible kick off the boot. The result may be okay. Could have been a free kick against Gergic. It's a goal anyway off the ground. Their second.
Well, young Andrew Shipp really gets in onto that one, doesn't he? There's some real dangerous gaps opening up in the defence of the Melbourne side already, that Stephen O'Reilly playing at centre-half forward on Anthony Ingerson actually is able to get away from Ingerson. Ingerson doesn't do it well in that he didn't trap O'Reilly in onto the boundary line side, so O'Reilly could come back. And here's Gergic and Waterhouse down onto the square, and Shipp just rocks in on it.
Powerful start by the Fremantle Dockers. They lead by 12 points. White did well. Liam Shelley alongside the centre circle. Inside the attacking 50. Schwartz almost a free kick. Lyon went down. Longmuir left the ball behind. They battle hard after it. Eventually it's scrambled out of there by Parker. Slapped away by Carroll. Picked up by Gale. A hand pass still inside the 50. Harding dragged down by Viney. Close to the boundary line. Gale now. Needed to be precise, and he was. Around the corner, Jason Norrish, a former Demon, up from the back pocket. So the Dockers, who on occasions this season have begun very slowly, out of the blocks quickly. That should be a free kick to White in front. Advantage is paid. Gergic breaks away, forward at the wing, short. Schwartz has it. Looks across the ground. Woden into space. He can run on, measures the kick, stabs it goalward. First for Melbourne.
Well, they needed to answer pretty quickly, Melbourne, after the Dockers got those first two, and they've done it fairly well. The Dockers didn't get any flow from half back. The stagnant kick there from Gale and then Norwich didn't get anything going, so Melbourne had the opportunity, and Schwartz, who obviously a very important player at centre-half forward, was prepared to have a quick look around and find Woden right in the right spot, and a good control kick for the goal.
Brad Wirra, Andrew Shipp and Shane Woden, our goal kickers so far. Fremantle by 6 points early in the first quarter. Chance for them to get it out again, but it's Melbourne. Viney, Matthew Phoebe, Stephen out injured with a finger injury. Rigoni down to the left forward pocket. It's a foot race. Gary Lyon, can he get his first touch? Not just yet, Gary, the veteran. First game for the season in what will almost certainly be his last season of AFL football. 225 AFL games. Former captain, former All-Australian. It's in his backyard now. Bandy and Schwartz over the head of Farmer. No, it's not. He's got there. Ball out of bounds, was it? No, goes for the hand pass. Holland was there, tried to block it. Shuffled out to Hopgood. Needs to get rid of it quickly, does Leon Chelly. Snaps it, goal. That's it. Will be a mark to Bandy on the last line of defence. Bond adopting the Robert Harvey stance. Parker in the left back pocket. In fact, he's a little bit worse than Robert Harvey. He's got a corky somewhere. That's bad news for Freo. He was manning up on Farmer, and that's a big job. Leon Shelley, Matthew Phoebe at right half forward. Can the Demons get their second? Into the forward pocket it goes. Good stretch out there, and the mark is taken by Clement in the left back pocket.
Gee, Bond shouldn't waste time out there. If he's injured, he needs to come off, because been a lot of thought put into the setups here in the game by Damien Drum. Bond on Farmer. They can't afford an early break here from Melbourne to get back into the game.
Bond trying to run it out. Bandy on the outer side. Juggled attempt at the mark. McDonald, James got it across to Phoebe Matthew. Down he went. Fletcher at close quarters to Gale. Gale breaks away and kicks to half forward, and Waterhouse in front takes the tumbling mark.
Looks like the doctor is tagging Bond. He just keeps pushing him away. He can't get near him. He certainly wants to stay out there, but I think the doctors want to get him off.
Waterhouse short. Gale again. He started very well. Rigoni alongside Bond at the moment. Interesting by Gergich. Did he throw it? Waterhouse has it. Close to the boundary. Chance to make amends. Pulls it back. In from the side. Shipp. White read it best. Breaks away. Jeff White, the former Docker, towards midfield. Indecisive kick though. Finishes up with Bandy. Bandy feeds it wide to Fletcher, and Fletcher goes short to Black.
Black short of half forward. Dodd takes the mark. Hopgood stands the mark. Just a little bit further out than when Brad Wirra kicked the first goal of the match. Realising that, he goes in short. And the mark is taken by Prescott. Milestone for him, his 100th game. Did a long apprenticeship at Richmond. He played over 70 games in the reserves. Something that rarely happens these days. Although I think the great Michael Tuck probably played about 50 or 60 games. And he went on to break the league record held by Kevin Bartlett. Not a bad kick. Goal umpire hasn't moved. It's the Dockers' third.
An impressive thing about the Dockers at the moment is just their use of the ball once they cross the wing and move into their forward line. They've been very sharp and crisp, and in particular has been Gale. Mark Gale's use of the ball has been very good. He's got quite a few possessions already. He's had some 4 kicks and a handball. 1 of 4 changes coming into the side, and they've all been good young players. Carroll, Dodd, Walker and Gale, and they're all looking pretty sharp.
There's Bond on Farmer, and we'll see what happened. That right leg, I think, collecting Bond and producing the cork as Bandy knocks it down. Fletcher, now Holland breaking towards half forward, goes looking for Modra, wide of the mark. Shanahan soccers the ball off the ground. Rigoni goes in, it comes back to Holland. Bacon square, he kicks it down in that direction. It bounces through for a behind.
Gee, you've really got to like some of the young players in the Dockers lineup. Holland is one of them. Mark Doran spoke about James Walker, and I think he's one of the boys down there now, Mark.
He is, Wills. James Walker, Clem Michael, Dale Kickett and Luke Toyer on the bench, and the skipper's won the battle. He stayed on Jeff Farmer on the ground.
Fletcher, big fly. Couldn't drag it down. Prescott going for his second. Modra has to punch the ball to the front. Dot a chance. Quick hand pass. They can get rid of it here. Wirra off a step. Snaps. Not bad. I think he's got it. He has. Another defender kicking a goal. What's going on, Wheels?
Well, we always thought that the Dockers had a game that could just toss it all around, but they're really doing it here tonight. And it's really caught Melbourne off guard. Melbourne haven't got no sharpness in their game whatsoever. They haven't strung any consecutive possessions of the ball together, but the Dockers in their half-forward line, Ship was very good there. Wirra gets on the end of it to get his second goal. They're looking very sharp, and I think the Demons bench might have to be used pretty shortly. Ozzy, you've got it?
Yeah, we've got Scotty Chisholm, Russell Robertson, Troy Simmons and Ben Beams on the bench for the D's.
So Brad Wirra probably goes in the record book as a back pocket player who's got 2 goals in 1 game. Hopgood in his 100th. Can Melbourne get the quick reply up towards Schwartz at half forward? Couldn't drag the mark in. Parker goes for the quick hand pass. Norrish, and they get clear.
This is Black in midfield. Takes it. Wants to go. Does. Kicking down towards half forward. Long telling kick too. Off hands. O'Reilly keeps it in front. Knocks it to the advantage of Waterhouse. Waterhouse gets the hand pass to Black, who covered some ground. Back it comes to Gale. Gale from 65 metres out. Down towards Shanahan and Modra. Modra directs it down. Picked up by Ship, who's been lively. Holland missed the ball. Knocked out of there by Bandy. Harding's over the top of the ball now. Gets a hand pass across. In front it bounces obligingly for Modra, who snaps another one for the Dockers.
Well, this is stuff right out of the blue. The Dockers have gone into hibernation in Western Australia for the State of Origin weekend, and they've really come out firing. Dennis spoke earlier how their starts haven't been good at all, and it's been rare for them to get a score on the board in the first quarter. They've only actually led at quarter time once during the season, but here they've got away with 5 very quick goals. This is a most impressive start.
Neil Danaher maybe with a few early worries at the G. Tony Modra's got his first goal. The Dockers have got 5-1 and the D's have got just the 1 goal. Bandy's been good at the centre bounces, gets the tap and the kick. Holland overruns it. He's got plenty of support in Gale, who's been pretty good so far.
Yeah, Gale really taking Matthew Phoebe apart on that outer side there, Pete. It's one they'll have to look at. Gale went back to the West League and so has had 2 weeks out of it and really wants to make amends, and he started off on 5. Very damaging on that southern side of the ground.
So bounce inside the square. Won by Jeff White. Over to Viney. Skipper's kick up towards a pretty vacant half-forward line. Norrish missed it. Farmer, if he can get clear, gets support from Longmuir. Farmer on the boundary, snaps it back. Lyon with Clement. Melbourne supporters were looking for a free kick. There was none. Norrish over to Dodd. And the Dockers have got a panic here at right half back. He can run it out. Could have run a little bit further. But a terrible kick lets his work down. And the boundary umpire really had to make pace to keep up with that forward thrust. So Ward with the free kick. At left centre wing for the D's. Norrish punches, can't get it away. Bandy, he's doing well. Kick up towards, that might be a free kick for too high. It will be, to be taken by Brodie Holland at right centre wing.
Well, the Dockers looking terrific at the moment. Holland kicking for space in front of the leading forward Modra, and Modra has marked inside the 50. This forward line looking very potent for the Dockers. They lead by 25 points.
And they're just so well structured up in the forward line. You can see how much space here Tony Modra has to work in, and Jamie Shanahan really was never going to be there with him. The Dockers have been to their forward 57 times, Melbourne 5, so that's not a significant difference. It's just that the Dockers have been so effective once they've been there.
Important kick, this one. I'll tell you why in a moment, if in fact it's a goal. Modra from 52 metres out. Slides it across the face. It's a behind. That would have taken him to 34 goals on the season, the most by a Docker in their history in a season.
It also equals their best ever first quarter score against Melbourne. Dennis? 5-2, previously 4-8.
Okay, Pete. Kick in from Walsh. Where's it Ward? It's Ward who drives it in. Right mark there by White, but he's been penalised. Hand on the shoulder, Dockers ball.
And Peter Landy very happy with that call, because, Pete, that's been one of your real bugbears about Jeff White's marking, hasn't it?
Not just Jeff White, you go back to the likes of Warwick Capra, etc., etc.
Yep.
So O'Reilly about 60 metres out. Down towards full forward goes the kick. Waterhouse is pushing, shoving. Shanahan flies over the top. And Fremantle lead by 27 points. So just making that point again, Tony Modra has 33 goals now. And that ties the most goals by a Docker as we watch White again. He himself a former Docker. And you saw the right hand on the shoulder of O'Reilly. That was a record jointly held by Peter Mann and Kingsley Hunter, joined now by Tony Modra.
So a great start by the Dockers. Can they build on it? We're at the halfway stage of the first quarter now. Big pack of players. Prescott couldn't get clear. Bandy picks it up like a rover and then gets tripped. A little bit unlucky there. In fact, if he gets up okay, lucky not to be injured, because I've seen players injured knees like that.
I think at this height, Pete, all his shoulders and waist again, but the ankles just didn't follow quick enough.
And our colleague on the boundary, I think Richard Osborne, could relate to something like that, couldn't you, Ozzy?
I can, Peter. Not very good signs early for the D's, because Daniel Bandy was the only one that wanted that ball then.
He was. Gale, who's been good, smothered by Woden. O'Reilly gives it back to Prescott. Centering kick from the former Tiger. They come from all directions. The umpire lets it go. Leon Cherry. He's too far, surely.
Yep,
yes.
He's pinged him.
He took that extra step and he was standing right next to the umpire, unfortunately for him.
It's amazing, isn't it? I don't know what the distance is, but everyone knows when you've run too far. Sure, I think 15 metres anymore.
Gale into the forward pocket, too easy for Modra. Well out in front of Shanahan and Farmer down there.
Yeah, Jamie Shanahan just hasn't been able to go with Tony Modra. While the Dockers can create this space in front of Tony Modra, Shanahan isn't going to be quick enough to go. It's just his third game for the year, Shanahan. He's had hamstring problems. Modra really has got good fire in his game just at the moment. He's quick out of the blocks.
473 career goals for Tony Modra. One already tonight. And make that 2. So now it is their best ever first quarter score against Melbourne. 6-3 to 1 goal, and we've still got 9 minutes left.
Gee, the records are going to tumble if they keep going like this, aren't they? I mean, this is just dynamic football. And it's Neil Danaher who really has spent a lot of time with the Dockers, obviously in his role as assistant coach, and should have had a real handle on them, but they've come up with something here that's constructed all this space in the forward line that at the moment Danaher just can't handle.
Well, it took both Peter Mann and Kingsley Hunter a full season to boot 33 goals for the Dockers. Here we are, the first quarter, round 10. Modra's got 34. Nobody ran on the ground. I don't know. Just being facetious, but Leoncelli's got a free kick alongside the centre circle. He kicks down towards left half forward. Schwartz on the lead, drops the mark, recovers pretty well. 32 metres out, pulls it back towards full forward. Lyons in front, Clement right there, dragged him down. He bulldogged him down, and we've got a ball up about 35 metres out from Melbourne's attacking goal. They trail by 33 points.
Bit of aggro there.
Yeah, Gary's just out shopping nice and early, see if he can get a free kick.
So Melbourne desperate for a goal. The breeze not a factor. Still night, beautiful night as we've said several times. Lyon trying to force it behind, and they'll settle for that. Across the line goes Prescott. Behind him Viney. And I'd say a little shell-shocked here, Neil Danaher. We said at the outset, Terry and myself, that Melbourne probably would have penciled this one in.
You said penned, I think, didn't you?
I did say penned. Well, get out the rubber.
Early days. Carroll. White hasn't really been able to get into it so far, but he's got a lot of teammates I could have described in the same word. Harding. A resolute defender, if ever there was one. Waterhouse and Gergich. Waterhouse takes him on. Could have been penalised. The umpire lets it go. Ward has got the mark. Over the head of Modra. Woden, certainly in space, doesn't decide to run, goes for the pass. The Ox, who's got it, Schwartz. Bond seems to be okay. No, holding. Well, Chris Bond, the captain, gives away the free kick there, perhaps. I guess.
I think it was probably more that left hand there. Pete round the back got the jumper. You know, if it was just in the grappling, I think the umpire's been a little bit fastidious. I think he went for that one behind the back on the grab on the jumper.
Jeff Farmer 40 out, directly in front. Looks good. Crowd likes it. He's got it.
Well, they've really got to start this road back here now, Melbourne. Well, Woden got the third goal of the game, which was Melbourne's first, but since then the Dockers have kicked 4. And they really now need to get some consecutive goals on the board. This one is a result of a free kick, but really it doesn't matter how you get them when you're desperate for them. And Melbourne are desperate for them. We've got to start getting some scores on the board with only 7 and 9 goals the last 2 weeks.
Jeff Farmer, 22 goals for the season with a best of 6 twice against the Tigers round 1, against the Bombers round 7. And it in firing tonight. Woden goes down, knocks the ball in the wrong direction. Hopgood upended. Phoebe does nicely. Woden getting busy. Kicks towards centre half forward. Schwartz directs it down. Parker right there with him. Lyon crashes in. Bandy is there. Over the top comes Bond. Whistle. And a bounce just inside the attacking 50 for Melbourne. 26 points our margin. Just under 7 minutes till quarter time. And as you can see, Melbourne finding it hard to get the footy.
Well, this is interesting, that stat there, Dennis, in that against the Kangaroos, the Dockers were really caught with a heap of handball in the midfield. It just seems now they're getting more kicks, and it's straightened the game up a lot.
Viney got it from Bandy. That wasn't Bandy's intention. Right across the ground. Beams and storming up. May have marked it inside the 50, but the man on the mark initially setting up outside the 50. Dragged back now. Beams. That's a thumping kick. It's a beauty. How about that for the young man?
Well, Ben Beams knew what he was doing. Farmer made a lead. He virtually ignored that. Took the bit between the teeth, went bang, and that was it.
Look, he's a very impressive user of the ball, the left footer. I saw him a few weeks ago, and it's a good range. He is a player who will kick it from outside 50. Has that left foot that... I don't know what it is about left footers. They don't seem to try all that hard, but they go like rockets, and this man's got it. It was an excellent kick there.
So the D's get the last 2. They were never out of the match, but they're certainly well and truly back in it now. 3-1 to 6-3, 6.5 minutes remaining in the term. A centre square infringement.
Gee, you can't afford that though, Beach. You know, your side's just coming back. You've got back-to-back goals, and then you give the Dockers a free kick at the centre bounce. It's very undisciplined play.
That's the coach speaking, isn't it? Bandy's kick intended for O'Reilly. He was well and truly taken out of that contest. Woden assisted by that little bit of a shepherd there. Leon Kelly. Short of midfield. Up and under kick out towards left half forward. Dockers playing in front. That's okay. Kick comes down from Parker to half forward. There's a whistle. It's a Dockers free kick. Going to be taken by Ship, who comes from Victoria, Springvale. And you've got to be able to play out there. Originally from Gembrook. Well, Modra was held, but comes up with the mark. Pretty acute angle, right in the pocket. Not an impossible one. There's a little bit of holding here. Let's see what happened.
Well, he doesn't really go the first time, so that allows Jamie Shanahan to be there. Yeah, and really, it's always the jumper that's the giveaway, isn't it? We can see it, the crowd can see it, and that's what the umpire sees. Just that stretch of the jumper. You've done that, you're in trouble if you're the defender.
Tony Modra for his third. Even money from there. Gee, not a bad sort of a roost. Just fades to the left, and he kicks one behind. So 2 goals, 1 to Tony Modra, who started the evening with 32 goals, 16, I beg your pardon. 40 plays, 19. Jeff White against his old club, keen to do well, but Bandy's done best so far. White in front this time, nearly the mark. Certainly didn't hold it long enough, and it's going to be a ball up at right half forward for Fremantle, leading 40-19.
A lot of pride on the line in that duel between Bandy and White, of course. They shared time when White was with the Dockers. That didn't work for anybody. And tonight, Bandy, so far, making a point. We saw the hand passes for the 2 clubs as the kick comes inside the 50. But going back, Gergic takes the mark. Came from Holland, that kick. Gergic across. Walsh comes away on the defensive 50, kicking it up towards the wing. Leading back in the race is Norrish. Norris does well. Across to Gale, who started so well. Awkward bounce for Black. Rogoni. Awkward hand pass. Phoebe was taken high. Advantage is paid. Adamuse breaks away. Takes a while. Kicks down towards half forward. Camped in front is Parker. Schwartz knocked it away. Farmer onto the crumb. Pulls it back. Bounces into the post.
Oof, doesn't it go up a notch when Jeff Farmer hits the footy? I mean, he really knows how to read and rove the contest, and that's a specialist skill in himself. And as we see here, he just comes through, and when he hits it, he's going flat out, but then has the ability to be able to curl it around and just hit the base of the post there. She wasn't too far away at all.
Explosive speed, hasn't he, Jeff Farmer? Norris in the back pocket.
Just can say that I'm glad that I'm retired, Pete, because he would have gone by about 50 metres.
Fletcher at the back, totally outmarked and outplayed there by Schwartz. Too tough to play him from behind. Farmer, will he go for this Becky? No, he won't. He was shepherded away from the contest.
This is a good matchup, Clement, there, being able to pick up line and the taller players in the forward line for Melbourne. A very disciplined player. I like his role in the half-back line for the Dockers.
Now it's playing from behind. This time he has got the mark but given away the free kick. So Fletcher's tactics, and he's given away 50. So that'll be another goal, you'd reckon. Guy Rogoni will take the kick. Just while they're going back to the mark, Terry, Gary Lyon hasn't played all year. If you were coach on the selection panel, would you run him in the reserves first?
It's a very tough one, isn't it? You need his experience out there. As we just see this here. And what I was more interested in, Pete, was when Neil Danaher in the opener said that he was going to run Gary on and off the bench. I think if he's out there to play, you've got to keep him warm and keep him going. It's a pretty severe injury, the back injury that he's carrying. So once he's warm, I'd like to see him out there and keep going.
Okay, fair enough. So Rogoni, 15 metres out with a 50-metre penalty. And not quite. One behind. Should have done better. So the runner out pretty quickly to Fletcher, having given away a mark, a free kick and a 50-metre penalty in the space of about a minute and a half.
Yeah, Damien Drum doesn't want that undisciplinedness to slip into the game, particularly from Fletcher, you know, a real experienced player. And they've got so much going well for them. Bandy's work in the midfield has been great, and here you can just see how agile he is. And then this link of young players, Dodd, here's another one, Holland, they all get in onto the act once the ball comes forward. There's some good structure in the Dockers lineup at the moment.
Harding, Ship, nearly gone. Farmer has got it again at midfield. Gives it across to Leon Challey. Still Farmer runs. Leon Challey looking for options. There may be a free kick here.
Yep, back to Farmer. This is where Chris Bond's got to be careful. Whether you like it or not, some players develop a reputation for free kicks, and I think Bond is one of those, so the umpires are going to be right on him all night.
Viney into the pocket. Mark almost to Beams, who kicked a beautiful goal from certainly further out than that about 5 minutes back. But it's going to be a throw-in in Melbourne's right forward pocket.
There's the time remaining. Almost quarter time. Dockers lead it by 19. Got the flying start. Schwartz collapses the pack. It's going to be a Dockers free kick down there in the last line of defence. And Vandy has been terrific. Will get the kick.
Guys, you mentioned Gary Lyon. His opponent tonight, James Clement, was an ex-junior 100-metre state champion. So I tell you what, he's going to be very close to him all night long.
So Bandy, his 8th possession, in fact his 9th, his 8th kick. Harding's got it. Squares the ball. It's taken by Bond. Now I've got to own up here. I think I started that myth. I don't think it's right about James Clement. He's got the ball. Put a stopwatch on him, Terry. We'll see. But the guy said it and was incorrect. And I've started the ball rolling. And now Carroll's got the ball. Out towards right half back.
But hope it is incorrect, Dennis, because Tony Shaw ripped through me one day when I tried to take him on that kid.
Kick up towards the wing. Bump down in front. Viney is waiting. My fault, Oz. I've led you into that. Gergic from the wing towards centre half forward. Then White is the target. Clement in from the side. He looked quick there. Norris to Gale. Gale's hand pass to Fletcher. Fletcher feeds it back to Norris. Well worked. Norris runs towards the centre circle and pinpoints the ball. And Clive Waterhouse has it. Hampered by an infected toe. Hence that kick. Well, maybe hence that kick. This is Ward. Good thing I got it in first. Woden up towards the wing, pulls it back towards the middle. White with the runner alongside.
They've got to finish this one.
Hopgood. In fact, it's Walsh. Walsh has got it. Runs inside the 50 and has kicked a goal. Beautifully worked. Or did it hit the post? It brushed the post. The inside of the post. Well, he was celebrating and headed back towards the middle. 3-4 to 6-4.
And that was probably
18 points.
Dennis, but that was probably Melbourne's best build-up of play from the defence. Where Woden getting here at half-back, they've moved it back inboard and eventually got Walsh on the burst. He needed to be able to finish it off as we tick down towards quarter time.
Prescott intended for Holland, who appeared to be held. Now can he get it this time, Walsh? Short in towards left half forward. First touch for G. Lyon. Clock ticks down to quarter time. He's not going to have a shot. There'll be a mark or a free kick for Schwartz. Carroll a little bit late on the scene. Well, tough angle, but not impossible. He's just about right on the boundary line. A real handy one for the D's in what may be the final kick of the first quarter. 18 points the margin. Schwartz from right on 50. Looks pretty good off the boot. Slews away to the right, and it goes over for one behind. We'll give that to Schwartz because I think it was touched over the line.
A very important player in the forward line structure. Had a tough day against Anthony Koutoufides there 2 weeks ago. Had a run with Victoria last week, but had a tough day. Only took the one mark in the forward 50, and so he was always well out of range and wasn't giving the focal that Melbourne need in the forward line. Here, he has to stay in that range here tonight and kick goals.
Damien Drum comes down to address his players. Parker kicks in. That's the final stanza of the first quarter. So Gary Lyon bothers the statisticians all but once in the first term at his first game back. Damien Drum, I guess, would be more happy with the first half of the turn than the second half, but still their best ever first quarter score against Melbourne, 6-4, beat their previous effort by 8 points. As you mentioned, Dennis, they've been notoriously bad starters this year so far.
Play the last 3 quarters. Aussie just stamping this one. Start of the second term about to go then, and we've got 6-4 plays 3-5. Umpire Norden to set us underway. Can the D's work back into it? White goes up and thumps it down towards half forward, almost worth a kick. Norrish over the ball, worked off it, picked up by Harding, too slick for Prescott, grabbed by Beams, stylish left footer, pulls it back inside the 50. Parker drops back, takes the defensive mark, plays on, channels play towards the outer side. Gale coming up for his 11th possession, pops it up, that's a floater. Knocked forward by Walsh, who butters up again. Fletcher, who's been quiet by his standards. Woden couldn't get it out. Gale did well to knock it back in. Dodd came over the top and ties it up. Shane Woden on the outer side wing, the last man to get up. He's got the footy. Now the umpire's got it. We'll have a ball up. 40 plays, 23. Opening moment, second term. Friday night football from the MCG. Bandy doing terrifically well. Hopgood hasn't got the ball. Advantage will be paid. Phoebe's away, then Matthew Phoebe down towards half forward. Schwartz in front, fisted away by Parker. Socket off the ground by Norrish up towards the wing. Melbourne lead in all directions. Matthew Phoebe feeds it back. This is Ward. Ward a little chip pass back towards the middle, and Schwartz has taken the mark.
Schwartz short of right half forward. Intended for Gary Lyon. Chopped off down there on the last line of defence. That was by Bandy. The ball over the boundary line now. Outside 50 in front of the old smoker stand for a throw in.
Dennis, you mentioned Fletcher, low stats. It's just been 2 kicks, 2 handballs. But and I wouldn't be that concerned if I was Damien Drum, because the younger players really are picking up the slack, and they have got a lot of energy in the game at the moment.
Holland from Bandy's tap. A bouncing ball on centre wing. And in fact, will be taken over there for the D's by Ingerson.
Bandy's inspired, isn't he, at the moment?
You've seen more of him this year than I have, Dennis. Is this up to his standards so far, or is this out of the box?
This is out of the box on this season, but he's got enormous potential. I hate that word potential, but he's got it.
Phoebe nearly pinned in the tackle. Hand pass is effective, as it turns out. Goes to Leon Chelly. He can't control it. It's out of bounds. Still on centre wing. So a very committed Docker lineup That's Carroll there with the ponytail.
And that was a great indicator, Pete, there wasn't there? After that bit of word from Carroll, 3 or 4 of the Dockers players all round, as Terry Bright said, they have to generate this energy themselves. And they're making a conscious effort of that.
Fletcher taken down on the tackle, and it was a good tackle too by James McDonald. Still all tied up on centre wing, so no further addition to the quarter time score. And on the benches, let's go downstairs. Mark Doran.
Thanks, Peter. Luke Toyer, Dale Kickett, Clem Michael and James Walker on the bench for the Dockers.
Thank you. So, as I said, still on centre wing. White, Rigoni off the side of the boot. That's out of bounds on the full. And the free kick down there in the back pocket will be taken, or should be taken, by Clement. It is. Must pay tribute to the ground staff too after the state game last week, which I'm sure you recall, if you saw bits of it over there in WA, was in atrocious conditions. Bandy again, terrific mark. The ground was almost a bog, but it's recovered magnificently.
Daniel Bandy, forward of half-back to Harding. A little untidy. Harding makes it look okay. Kicks through the centre. Waterhouse is storming up to meet it. Trapped it pretty well. Bond slaps it across to Black. Sent away on his left foot to Dodd. Dodd feeds it back to the middle. This is Ship going at his second goal. And it's okay.
Well, how sharp was all that? Black, Dodd, Ship, they're all in amongst it. And Andrews, Ship, yeah, been a very impressive player. Bringing it around the half-forward line. When he's getting it, he's actually coming in onto goal more often than not. So he's lining up out wide and cutting back in. And here's a just good, quick exchange of hands. What they're doing is they're not carrying the ball. They're moving it with quick hands all the time.
Andrew Ship, youngster from initially Gembrook and then Springvale. And Gembrook, for those of you interstate, lovely part of the Dandenong Ranges here in Melbourne. Matthew Phoebe up towards half forward. There is a whistle on play. Brother Stephen not playing this evening to a finger injury. Chisholm comes on, and a change being made by Neil Danaher. In fact, he's almost into the fray. Picked up by Beams. Beams goes down towards centre half forward. A marking contest there. Ball jarred free. Picked up by Norrish. Against his old side, Gary Lyon seemed to have caught one in that skirmish. As I said, Chisholm just onto the ground, down towards right half forward. That's okay. Mark taken by Beams again. We saw him kick a great goal in the first quarter. Rigoni through some pretty heavy traffic. There's no one home except guess who? Daniel Bandy out to Dodd, who marks right on the boundary line.
And that's where Bandy's been good. He's been able to get back into defence. He's still working it. This is his 5th possession in the back 50 of the game, and then he's had some 8 in the mid 50. He hasn't ventured forward, so he's been the player looking to structure up and crowd the forward line of the Melbourne side whenever he can.
Harding out of the back pocket to centre half back. Guess who? Bandy breaks away. Farmer couldn't get there in time, so Bandy down towards half forward. Waterhouse flew over the top, couldn't hang on. Gergich, Rigoni. Woden now crashes into the pack. Prescott umpiring as he went down. Gergich gives it back towards Uze. Throws it on the boot. Wanders through the centre square. Coming up is Bond. Bond does well in a tight situation. Pumps it back towards half forward. Wirra, who's booted 2 goals, takes the mark on his chest. And he's about 55 metres out. 23 points the margin. Up ahead is Modra. The kick goes in that direction. Modra had it fisted away by Shanahan. And a free kick goes to the defender. Advantage will be paid. No, Ward plays on, but the ball will come back.
Yeah, the umpiring control there really made a mistake, Scotty McLaren, is that he didn't watch where the ball was going. He kept his attention after the infringement on Modra and Shanahan, whereas Melbourne were away and should have been paid advantage.
Might have been having second thoughts about the kick itself. As White gives it across to Hopgood, who kicks it up towards the wing. It's across the line. Viney tries to hand pass it back. Nothing doing. Boundary throw in Aussie. What about the bench for the D's?
James McDonald, Russell Robertson, Troy Longmuir and Troy Simmons, and a very nervous Richard Osborne after those comments I made at quarter time.
Thanks, Aussie. Long way to go. Jeff White. Good long hand pass, but it'll be good if it goes to a teammate. Scotty Chisholm, the best chance to try to pick it up. Harding pressuring him. Shuttled out the back. Fletcher. Spiral punt off the boot. Carroll couldn't mark it. Gale was in there. Had a great first quarter, or first part of the first quarter. Rigoni dives on top of everything. And we will see another bounce. It's tight in the clinches there. The Dockers by 23 points. They led by 17 at quarter time. And 14 and a half minutes remaining in the second term. Did a dislocated finger, did he? No. Somebody stood on it, I think. Bounce on centre wing. Bandy. Well, he's playing Jeff White as good as anybody.
Oh.
Kick smothered. Back to Gale from Bandy. Dockers try to set it up again. Ship, Fletcher. Gale off a step. Goes inboard. That needs to be good, and it is good. Bandy, he's having the match of his life.
Great
to
kick.
capitalise here. It was a great kick. Ingerson had no control over O'Reilly there.
The game of Daniel Bandy to this date has been very impressive. He's been athletic, he's been deep down in defence, now he's moving towards half forward, and his ability to kick the ball, I mean, that's a very good kick on out to O'Reilly. Sufficient amount of air so O'Reilly could judge it and run onto the ball and mark it right where he wanted, right in front of his face.
Stephen O'Reilly, he's outside 50 at the moment. He'll kick from pretty well right on the line. It'll get the distance, needs to be accurate. And one behind, I think. Yes. That would have been really handy. So the D's to make more changes. And coming on is Troy Simmons. Only his second game. Comes from Box Hill in the VFL.
Adam Uze directly up the middle. Nice kick too. Matthew Phoebe plays on immediately. Guy Rigoni unloads. That's a thumping kick well inside the 50. Parker appear to be held. No free kick. In goes Carroll. The second attempt moves the ball about 10 metres. Gale, unkind bounce. This is Prescott. He's played it pretty well. Prescott down towards half forward then. Plenty of Melbourne players. Waterhouse, though, almost the mark. The crumb went to O'Reilly. Now an opportunity for Uze. Sweeping hand pass out to White. Completely eclipsed so far. Comes back to Gergic, who kicks it up towards the wing. Matthew Phoebe takes the mark, plays on, kicks down towards the attacking 50. Schwartz was held. He'll get the free kick. Advantage will be paid, will it? Well, Chisholm, not a particularly good kick down towards the
well
pocket.
worked, Farmer.
But Farmer comes back into the loose ball, goes at right angles and kicks a goal for Melbourne.
Well, just have a look at this when we get back to replay. I mean, Chris Bond has done everything right. He's worked the ball towards the boundary line. He's got the front position on Jeff Farmer. But here Farmer just reaches on over the top here and scoops a little tap back. And unfortunately for Bond, it comes back through his leg. Farmer first man up and the right foot banana, if you don't mind, just to top it all off.
Jeff White having a rest. Jeff Farmer's not. He's kicked his second goal. 23rd for the year, Jeff Farmer. 7-5 to 4-5.
Oh.
So the D's coming back. Not in this passage of play. Suck it up towards half forward for Fremantle. Robertson on the ground. Oh, the two of them collide. Phoebe ultimately able to pick it up. The Dockers again through Ship to Bandy. If he can get a handle on it, he can. To Gale. Modra tries to shepherd it through, but it rolls through. Touched off the hands for one behind. So Gary Lyon goes to the bench, and coming back on is McDonald. Frawley, Shaw from Collingwood. Be involved against them next week, against the D's, that is. So Gergic brings the ball in. Plenty of Fremantle players at the fore of the ball. Fletcher roves it beautifully. Kicks it back up towards Waterhouse. Went one-handed. Pretty hard to mark like that. Shanahan in more trouble.
Here's a fair question, Tony Modra. Well done.
Holding the footy, Terry.
Yep, the umpire looked long and hard at it, but there was no doubt about it. Umpire Scott McCarron right on the spot, and he's makes the right. Just watch it here. Tony Modra, he tackles him legitimately, and Jamie Shanahan couldn't or didn't get it out, and there's a 50-metre penalty here for what? I'm not sure.
Obviously he said something, but that's a no-win situation for Jamie Shanahan.
No, that's true.
Well, Modra gets the goal.
You're either holding the ball or people think you're very clumsy.
I think the art now is just being able to cover it up and really give the intention that you're trying to get it out. The unfortunate thing for Jamie Shanahan was the umpire here is on the open side, so the ball's not being hit by any bodies at all. Here it is here, and it sits there, has a couple of goes at it. Didn't really hit it with the gusto that the umpire wanted him to. He wants to see it thump with a fist, not pat it with an open hand.
So Neil Danaher sees another goal. This time to Tony Modra, his third. Stretched the margin. It's out 54-29. I think Tony talking to Jamie about that last effort. Degree of difficulty nil, but it didn't look flash. Well, Bandy just superb to Fletcher on the lead. Wirra fisted away down there by the defender. That's Regani who follows up. Or is it Uze? Uze charging out. Waterhouse came across on the angle. Gets it back to Wirra. Uze closing across the body. It bounces inside the 50. Ingerson rather slow. He was tentative as he approached that ball. It was held in and will have a bounce about 35 metres out.
And I think the tackler was Brodie Holland, was he just sweated on Ingerson. He knew Ingerson had to go for the ball. He was prepared to concede him that possession. But as soon as Ingerson took it, he was claimed in the tackle. Umpire acknowledged that bounce was the right decision.
29 plays 54. Leon Shelley has been quiet so far in this term to Woe Woden. They need those players, and Guy Regani firing. Woe Woden on the outer side. Left half back. It's a telling kick down towards half forward, but all directed. Clement had his name on it. Just hanging back, had the run. Hardly a contest. James Clement back towards half forward for the Dockers. Big pack at the drop of the ball. Ingerson was in there to fist it forward. Prescott runs away from Leon Shelley. He's on the wing, kicks inside the 50 once more. Modra comes across. Uze played it pretty well, comes back to Modra. Wirra gave it up. Woden at close quarters. And Uze tracks it across the line. And not happy with the work done by his teammate, Adam Uze, averaging 16 possessions a game this season. That's well down from his 20 of last year, which was a banner season for the young defender. Thrown in, Ingerson body to body with O'Reilly. Down went Woden. Woden battles on though, ties it up, and that was a good result for Melbourne. Almost bundled off the ball there, Shane Woden. Former Fremantle boy himself, grew up idolising Stephen Michael, a famous name in the Fremantle area.
And of course his son's on his side tonight. Haven't seen him yet though. Started on the bench and still there. Modra around the body, lands it in the square. Bandy in front, couldn't get a handle on it. And Melbourne will be very content here to roll the ball over the line for a rush behind, and that's exactly what they've done. So further behind to Fremantle, taking the Dockers up to 8-7-55 and the D's 4-5-29.
And hasn't Simon Madden there on the bench for Melbourne, the Melbourne ruck coach. He's going to have to come up with something at half-time because Bandy really has taken the game apart. Simon Madden will be looking to whether he'd now have to run with him and negate him or continue to play with a ruckman and try and win the ball from the centre bounce. They haven't been able to do that yet, Melbourne. They're really starting from deep in defence too often.
Beams to Viney to Phoebe. Phoebe in short, up to Leon Shelley at midfield. He goes longer, up towards centre half forward. Farmer has been...
no, he's pinged the initial free kick.
Free kick, yes.
The push in the back. When he jumped for the mark, the foot went up and took his opponent out of the contest unfairly.
Bond to Toya to Holland. Now, he was a former track star in Tasmania. So we've got a couple of them. Kick comes down from Wirra, who's already kicked a couple of goals. Ship likewise going at another one. Modra for the big specky. Shanahan in front. Why wasn't that a free kick? Modra off the ground and gets a goal! Well, we saw the crowd booing, and I think the reason is they saw Jeff White in a similar instance. There was a free kick paid for on the shoulder, Terry.
Yep.
So I guess they're asking for a little bit of consistency.
So I'll have a look at it here. There's the jump.
Well,
and he comes down on, there's maybe a bit of a hold. Yeah, there's a pull of the jumper there. There's probably 3 free kicks before Tony Modra gets his foot to it. Be that as it may, not a bad little goal, just quietly.
A great goal, Dennis, but I think there was a free kick there.
I think you're right. He is remarkable though, Tony Modra. He gets some freakish goals and so many off the ground. He's got 4 tonight. His best effort on this ground is 10. Back in 1993 against the Tigers. Leon Shelley down towards half forward. Schwartz over the ball, keeps it alive, knocks it goalward. Harding off the ground, tracking it towards the boundary. Viney comes across and helps him and knocks it out. So boundary throw-in. Todd Viney has been quiet. 7 possessions by his standards. He's down. And they're the running players they need to fire. Viney and Rigoni in particular. Hurriedly onto the boot from Prescott. Chisholm, the former Docker, goes back. Could have been held. Simmons. Not a good kick. Missed by Matthew Phoebe. Knocked towards the line by Harding. In comes Rigoni. Harding could have been pushed in the back. And going in over the top was Matthew Phoebe. Lunging in. 61 plays 29. So the Dockers are looking good.
And Dennis, you're right. Sorry, Oz.
Sorry, Terry. I was just going to say, Dennis, you mentioned the runners. Damien Drum was delighted at quarter time with his running plays. He said that's where they're going to win this game. Keep that up and we'll win them. And they're certainly showing as if they're not fading in that area.
One of Melbourne's runners, Viney, kicks it down towards full forward. Parker gets back, given his own defensive area. That's game, taking on Farmer, and he did it well. Carroll's got the mark. The confidence is growing of the Dockers. Carroll towards the outer side. Woden's mark in front. Strong hands. Prescott should have punched. Woden trying hard. 60 metres out. Farmer works back up his man and takes the mark right on the kickoff line. Jeff Farmer, really their only spark on the forward line, keeping them in this game. He'll be kicking at his 3rd.
You're right, Dennis. He is the only one in there just at the moment. And just watch his cat-like attention to the game here. He takes the mark, and when he goes to the ground, he's all ready to assess whether he gets up and goes again to play on there to run in onto the open goal. So he's ever alert, very hard man to play against.
Jeff Farmer has 3. Demons needed that one.
Well, they did. 3 of them there. Bond not being disgraced. I think what it is in the defence, it's a real team effort, and collectively they all have to work together. One Melbourne player will kick some goals, but the task is just to be able to keep him down to 4, and maybe in Farmer's case, keep him down to 5. If that's it, and when negate the remainder of the forward line, the Dockers' defence would have done their job most admirably here.
Jeff Farmer gets Melbourne's 3rd. He's their only multiple goal kicker. In fact, they only have 3 goal kickers, and Farmer has kicked 3 of them, as I mentioned. Into attack again, just outside 50. There's the man of the moment, Jeff Farmer. Quick hand pass to Scotty Chisholm against his old side as well. Chisholm tries to centre the ball up in front of goal. McDonald was there, gets outmarked. It's by Clement. Crossed the goal. Gee, that could have been dangerous. Toyer's got it. Started on the bench, Luke Toyer.
Jeff White just playing his way back on the ground for the D's too, boys.
Gale. Now Parker tries to get around Phoebe. Succeeds in doing that. Thanks, Ozzy. Waterhouse has quite a few to beat. Comes up with the goods. O'Reilly looking for someone across half forward to take the mark. And that someone is Tony Modra, who's already kicked 4 goals. Always a little bit suspect, probably from this distance. 4 goals, 1 against his name tonight. Shane Shanahan, his opponent, 150 games, he's never kicked a goal.
Too quick, isn't he, on the lead for Shanahan? But where do you go if you're Neil Danaher?
That's right. Then you're looking around at a much smaller player, your Gergics type players, and really Modra's just going to be able to jump all over those guys. At least Shanahan's got some physical strength that they can keep it in close.
Accuracy's okay. He's got the distance too. Just clears the fence. 5 goals to Tony Modra before half-time. Well, 10-7 to 5-5. The Dockers at the moment seem to have all the answers. Let's look at the setup again, Terry.
And so, yeah, the real problem here is it's not so much Jamie Shanahan. I mean, he's got a task to do, but it's just the Dockers are able to create the space in front of Tony Modra. And look, there is as much grass as you'd like to buy there and take us up as a farm. He's got plenty to run on into, and as Dennis pointed out, Jamie Shanahan, just on the takeoff, isn't going to stick with him at all.
Jeff White back on the ground and stationed at full forward. Picked up by Trent Carroll.
Yeah, Troy Simmons is the young man. He's got the job now, or he's been given the instruction, just run with Bandy, negate him. Bandy's had some 10 disposals in this 2nd quarter.
Fletcher got it to Clement, to Harding, who kicks it down towards half forward. Gergich got a fist on it. Chisholm in front couldn't control it. Eventually it spills wide to Matthew. Phoebe untidy hand pass for Agoni to Viney. Viney stood up strong in the tackle. Knocked away by Harding. Fletcher did well. Got it to Prescott. Prescott pulls it back towards centre half forward. Bandy got a hand on it. That was enough. O'Reilly somehow got a kick on that one. Look at the commitment there from the Dockers. They charged in. Ship got it nicely. It comes across towards Waterhouse. Waterhouse got it from Black. Inside the attacking 50 then. McDonald in trouble. Simmons on his own defensive 50. That's ambitious. Rigoni under the pump. Throws it on the boot. Goes across the ground. Gergich is over the ball. Needs to slap it out. Prescott picked his pocket. Down he went. Down went Waterhouse. O'Reilly 55 metres out. High kick. They'll contest about 30 metres from goal. And it landed in the arms of Tony Modra. There may have been a deft little push there. Shanahan pleads his case, but Modra's got the footy. Kicking at his 6th, as I said before, his best of the MCG is 10 as an Adelaide Crow. Well,
he's not even in the marking contest, yet the man gets the mark.
You look at that one and all you can say is when you're hot, you're hot.
Oh, Aussie, this one is. So this 10 goals you've spoken about, Dennis, I think it's under threat here tonight.
The great Peter Hudson used to be able to do that. A legend of the game last week.
Tony Modra. I think he's got it. He has 6 for Modra.
So the Dockers really, they 17 points the lead at quarter time as we see Jamie Shanahan coming. But then Andrew Shipp got the first goal for the Dockers, but since then 4 goals to Tony Modra, and he really has been well serviced by the midfield of the Dockers side. They've been able to hit his leads. This is just straight out Tony Modra stuff. How he gets them sometimes, don't ask me.
Well, I picked it. Ingerson.
Old teammates.
Ingerson on Modra. Shanahan on the bench. Neil Danaher not wasting any time as Fletcher tries to get the Dockers out of the centre again. Bandy from Toya. Kick taken by Dodd. Gets it down towards half forward again. Demons defence is certainly under siege at the moment. Can they run it out? They can. Gergich onto Woden. Up towards centre wing. And the ball taken over the line there by Norrish. 73 plays 45. If they get another couple of goals, it'll be their record second quarter score against Melbourne as well, as Gary Lyon does some stretches. And that stat on the bottom of the screen. Never won on the MCG. Harding. They've lost 10. Shipp in front. Todd Viney with a new haircut. Woden with one of the many covers that he's worn. Harding nearly had his head taken off, but he ducked into it. Gets the free kick. The advantage was paid, not really to the advantage of the side though. Viney over to Longmuir. McDonald. Woden at midfield. Good build-up for Melbourne if they can capitalise on this. Nobody can take the mark. White got a decent old heave-ho in the back. He also couldn't take it. And it comes out to Carroll, who clears.
Out towards the boundary line with a kick. Harding, will it stay in? Yes, plenty of time too. Across to Toya. Toya kicking up towards the wing. Waterhouse on the lead, takes the mark. Clive Waterhouse thought about coming back to the middle. Half-distance kick into space. Over the head of Bandy. But it bounces obligingly to Prescott, who goes off a step down towards full forward. Uze falls over. Modra's got 7.
He can do no wrong.
And Dennis, you spoke of before, how many of those goals he's kicked in his career off the ground.
Uncanny.
He just gets the foot to them, and really, you know, it's a very odd-shaped football that we're using in this game, and he can control it so very well. There's probably had time to be able to pick it up where he wanted to, but he's got absolute confidence in his own game at the moment. Buy the Tats ticket on the way home, Tony, because you are hot.
Dockers need another 4 points to better their second quarter effort, their best ever second quarter effort against Melbourne. Line back onto the ground. Tony Modra and Daniel Bandy that's doing everything right. Fletcher gets them out of the congestion again. Viney. Melbourne need a couple of goals before half-time as the clock ticks down. Prescott tries to barge his way through the pack, doesn't have any success. It's all tied up over there on centre wing on front of the Coca-Cola emblem.
And Peter, Brad Dodd off for the Dock, as you can see there, having a bit of work done on his left knee. He went down on the other side of the ground and has limped off, and the Dock is not sure exactly what the damage is at this stage.
Thanks, Mark. They've got a long injury list, so let's hope he's okay. Manus out for a long time, got injured last week. Now, and the D set something up. Ward to half forward. Oh, Mark, take it. It's all tied up again.
But you mentioned the D's trying to set something up then. Peter Walsh, when he's streamed into the forward line, he's just kicked the ball 50 metres up in the air. So, you know, they need to be looking at what Modra's doing up the other end and delivering the ball to the forwards properly.
Well, they're missing Neats up on the forward line. Schwartz has got it now. Gets the hand pass away, Beams. Kicked a beautiful goal in the first quarter. He's on his correct foot, his left. Didn't get much distance with that, a real up and under one. Parker takes the mark. Goes in short. Bandy made a good effort. Phoebe took the dive. The Ox goes at goal. Misses to the left-hand side, I fancy. One behind. He's not too happy. Can you lip read, Terry?
Well, I'll go with the body language. And they haven't got much to be happy about, really, the Demons supporters, that they haven't used the ball well at all, particularly in the forward line. They've been inside 50 as many times as the Fremantle side have. It's just that the Dockers, when they use it in there, they're clean, they're sharp, and they've got a target. Melbourne haven't.
Norris goes to Prescott, who kicks to the outer side. O'Reilly almost. Gergich, Woden. Nicely done. This is McDonald, forward of the wing, a centering kick. And inside the centre square, Gary Lyon takes the mark. Well, regardless of anything else, it's great to see him back and playing footy. Unloads for a long kick since the square was vacant, and he spiralled it through. Marvellous goal.
Well, they needed that, didn't they? Virtually right on the half-time siren. We've got 20 seconds to go.
Yep, the former skipper, he's the one that needs to be able to make a stand here. It's a big call on Gary Lyon here at this particular stage of the game. The back injury that he's had to carry throughout this season and playing just his first game of the season, but he knows it's time that someone has to stand up, and if ever there's been a servant of the Melbourne Football Club who's prepared to do it, it's that man on screen, Gary Lyon.
Well, there's the man who's done a lot of the good work for the Dockers, having a rest just before half-time. So a handy one for the D's with just a few seconds remaining. Michael gets the tap away, picked up by Leon Cherry. Well, collision course here. Scotty Chisholm taken out of that contest. The umpire lets it go. That's too high against Schwartz, you'd reckon.
He's actually paid the one for Scotty Chisholm. He just saw it late.
Well, a couple there, but neither will be taken, really, because the siren has gone for half-time. And a great quarter by the Dockers, a great half. Here's one of the players who got them going, Mark Gale, in the first quarter. Well, was that a kick?
It was if umpire McLaren was leading.
Scotty Chisholm. Well, he kicked it about 20 metres. 6:42 Melbourne at half-time. Fremantle 12-7-79. In the current game, you have to say that they're not out of it, but really Melbourne would have to lift 100% to take the game away from the Dockers.
Have to say too, Pete, that Melbourne not a good half-time come from behind side. They're 1 out of 6 this season. That was against Hawthorn, and 4 out of their last 25 when they've trailed at half-time to turn things around. And obviously this is a substantial margin. It's 79-42 at the major break. Friday night football with the MCG. Could be on the line here in the second half. 4 and 5 coming in. Lose this one. The percentage isn't good. They'll really fall off the pace. 12-7-6-6. Melbourne with the contest in front of them now. Slapped out of there by Gale wide. Down goes Prescott. Eventually Melbourne work it forward. Well played. Viney comes away. Kicks down towards the attacking 50. It bounces inside. Lyon tries a deflection to Schwartz. Nothing doing. Picked up by Kickett, who spent the first half on the bench. In trouble was Bond. Lyon got him. Spills across to Clement. And Clement has put the ball out of bounds on the full.
Now that's the sort of pressure that Melbourne have to get in their forward line. That Gary Lyon continued to do enough there to have the pressure on the defence as it came on out. Then they get a chance to rebound and set it up just where the Demons want.
Schwartz has got it 60 metres out. Walsh was nice and aggressive just off that first centre bounce too to set them in motion as the kick comes down towards the pocket. Lyon, was he held? Battles after it. He's kicked 1 goal, pulls it back to the middle. Holland should have done better. In trouble, spins into Moore. Taken eventually, though. Nicely worked. The hand pass came from Ship to Prescott. Prescott goes towards the outer side. In front, Waterhouse had it fisted away. Rigoni controls it to his own advantage. Hasn't got it. It spills to Gale, to Wirra. Wirra's kick around the outer side bounces towards the boundary line and goes out. 79-42. Mark Durham's got the bench for the Dockers.
Thanks, Dennis. Remember, there's no love lost between these two sides over the way Jeff White was taken away from the Dockers. They're ecstatic that Daniel Bandy is beating him at the moment, but they've stressed to Bandy it's only half-time. The bench for the Dockers, Luke Toyer, Brad Dodd, who will come back if needed, Clem Michael and Trent Carroll.
Thanks, Mark. Those two go at it again. Rigoni's kick is up and under. Gale couldn't control it. Finishes up looking for a free kick, shuffled out to Fletcher from Holland. Onto Black. Black around the boundary line. Gergich and O'Reilly. Ball very close to the boundary line. Gergich spins away from that. Still they can't control it. Waterhouse looking for a hand pass. Got collected down there by Walsh. Black. Pretty untidy stuff this. The Dockers may make something out of it. O'Reilly backs his pace, goes in the goal from almost an impossible angle and has goal. Well, his reaction told me that it was a behind. You can never be certain. 6-6 to 13-7. Well, that was a handy one.
It wasn't, but when Stephen had to tuck it under the arm and go, I think that started to catch up on him after a while, because he was working hard in the contest, as all the Docker players were here, and then it spills to Stephen. He has a bit of a look around and decides, I'm the one to go for this, and controls it very well with the kick. To be able to come out knowing that Melbourne were going to come out with all guns blazing, being 6 goals down, and actually get the first goal, that is a great coup for the Dockers side.
Ozzy, what about the Melbourne bench?
We've got Jamie Shanahan, James McDonald, Russell Robertson, Troy Simons, and go those Dockers.
Back in the middle, they are going to. Fletcher down towards half forward. In front is Ward, gathers the bouncing ball, peels off half back and kicks it down towards half forward. It bounces high in the air. Hitting it hard was Chisholm. In the opposite direction was Bond. Over the ball is Prescott. Fighting hard is Viney. They tie it up and will have a ball up down towards right half forward for Melbourne.
Yeah, Todd Viney, I mean, really hasn't had the influence. He's knocked out a few handballs and had half a dozen kicks himself, but hasn't been as influential as he normally is. You can see Ashley Prescott there right with him. That's a tough tagger doing the job on Viney.
Everything has fallen into place for the Dockers so far tonight. Schwartz, well done. Rigoni around the corner. Matthew Phoebe. He's 60 metres from goal, wasting no time. Threads it towards the pocket. Beams has got it. It will open up for the left footer. Comes around, shoots at his second goal, and it's okay.
Likely looking type, isn't he, Beams? Couple of good goals.
It's a very good goal, isn't it, Pete? Just so balanced, and really when you look at a club in a season, the value now of being able to take injured players off the senior list and bring players up from the rookie list, as they did with Ben Beams when Big Bradley did his knee. He went off the list and Beams came on, and really he's repaid their faith in him with some classic football as a left footer.
Beams gets his second goal. Both of them have been kicked out of that end. And Melbourne their 7th. 7-6 to 13-7. Early in the third quarter. Rigoni again. Clement over line. Bond and Farmer. Chance for Schwartz. Interesting hand pass. Clement went for the boundary line. A few appeals there. This is in Adelaide, and just a few moments ago Scott Lucas goes down and looks as though he was favouring that right ankle and subsequently got stretchered off. So let's hope he's not too badly injured. Viney, short pass. Beams again. Is he too far out? Gee, the way he kicked them early, you'd say no. Jeff White makes him lead. He's ignored that. Don't be fooled, though. He can kick long, this lad. Schwartz, he did it well. Hasn't scored a goal tonight. Schwartz, Jeff White again has a lead ignored. Schwartz has kicked just the two behind. A goal apiece so far in the third quarter. Difference at half-time was 37 points. Schwartz just outside 50. Yes, I think he's got it. He has. He likes it.
Well, that's been very good. Melbourne have been able to get out of the centre bounce in the early part of this third quarter and move it down pretty quickly. They've picked up the 2 goals, Beams and now Schwartz, and that's where the game is going to be won. If they can start to turn out of the centre bounce with some degree of effectiveness, they can really get the game going. Liam Challey in there becomes important. Viney has to keep working hard and getting himself back in the game against Prescott. Schwartz, Lyon and Farmer still quite a potent threesome in that forward line.
So the margin cut to 31 points.
You can see there that
yeah.
the Dockers, Dennis, are having trouble with their phones. It might be a bit of sabotage here at Melbourne's home ground. They can't get through to Damien Drum. They're using the headphones. Nothing wrong with Damien's messages. He just can't get them through.
Regani booted Melbourne down towards half forward. There's going to be a free kick going to the Dockers. Fletcher will take it. Adrian Fletcher, averaging 23 possessions a game this season. He's down on that tonight. Parker got it to Gale. Back to Parker, forward of the wing. Looking for Modra, who's got 7. Great courage shown by Longmuir, the former West Australian. Well, still is a West Australian, but now based in Victoria. Going back, taking the mark. Kicks across the ground. Here's White, the defensive side of right half back. Important time in this game now. The Dockers need to come on strong. Fletcher charging at that one. Did well. Off his step, looking for Bandy, the dominant force along with Modra in the first half. For my money, the best man on the ground by a street, given that Modra booted 7 goals. Short one to O'Reilly.
Gergic, I think, has done a hammy.
That boy has a real history, Pete. A couple of times last year, and he's only just back. He missed 6 weeks. Played in round 1, kicked some goals for them in that particular game, but then did the hamstring. Missed 6 weeks, first game back, and it doesn't like the look of it as he grimaces there, clutching hold of that right hamstring.
Steve O'Reilly kicking at his 2nd goal. It'll be a timely one for the Dockers to stretch the lead back out to 37 points. Looking for their 2nd victory of the season, and that's gun barrel straight.
O'Reilly gets his 2nd, joining Brad Wirra and Andrew Shipp as kickers of 2 goals tonight, and of course Tony Modra leading them with 7.
And O'Reilly really gives some strength into the forward line. His 2 goals are a very valuable contribution to date in the third quarter, and because he's not a noted goal scorer, what he's noted for is providing the contest, and there we see young Gerd could be very much in trouble here this evening.
Stephen O'Reilly, the goal kicker, his 2nd, and again a quick reply by the Dockers, 14-7 to 8-6. Tackled by Harding, ball jarred free for McDonald though. McDonald long, up inside 50. Schwartz, was he being held? Parker, kick it, gives it away quickly. Bond's got it. Bond over the head of Schwartz. Roden will come from the side, punches to the front. Leon Challey went without the football. Harding tries to farm it out. The Dockers defending desperately here. Norrish, tackle was fair enough. Roden also applies the tackle. Lyon, a hand pass. Phoebe has it. 25-metre hand pass back into the fray. Finds Regoni. Centering kick. That's beautifully delivered. Viney, did he have the mark? Might have got a free kick.
He's a good kick guy, Regoni, isn't he?
Yep. Certainly didn't take the mark.
No, that front-on pressure there was what was illegal there, Pete.
Farmer, was he being held there by Bond? Schwartz couldn't take the mark. Clement gets back quickly. Oh, gee, that was, well, was it a bit of an act? I think the umpire was right. He didn't pay a free kick and let it go. So the ball comes back up towards centre wing. A one-on-one contest. Regoni again. Clear of Harding. Back to Gergic. Well, he's okay. Looked as though he'd done that hamstring. That's a good long kick. Will land right on 50. Bandy from behind. Couldn't complete the mark. Kick comes back towards the half-back line. Schwartz has got it again. Melbourne peppering the goals. Farmer! Oh, you can't do that, son. Bond will take the free kick.
Gale's ankle is gone too.
You mentioned Brett
He
Gergic.
wasn't putting on any show there.
Sorry, boys, you mentioned Brett Gergic. In that marking contest, he actually clashed with his teammate, so it was just a slight caught fire.
Oh, gee, that would have hurt. That would have hurt. So the Dockers' injury list is stretched as Kickett takes hold of the football, but it's a poor kick and snaffled by Peter Walsh.
Walsh cross half back. Kicks it back to the wing, ill-directed. Norrish immediately off and running towards midfield. Just wide of the target though. Toya slipped over, had time to get to his feet. Hand passes to Wirra. Wirra just forward of the centre circle then. Kicks it back for space from the leading Waterhouse, and Waterhouse takes it low down.
And that was a very good kick from Wirra, coming out on the left through the heavy traffic on that centre cricket pitch area, which is starting now to chop up, as we just seen that last piece of play. But good kick out in the front of Waterhouse, and he made very good ground to get down low and take it.
Mark Gale, who started so well, in many ways set the tone in the opening 10 minutes.
He had a great first quarter, didn't he?
Yep, having that ankle iced. And now Clive, well within range. From 55 metres out. Has it got the carry? Ingerson tries to touch it on the line, but I think it's okay. Not touched. Well, Ingerson appeared to get higher than the ball, but was on the wrong line.
And the Dockers start to settle here a little bit. Now the goals here to Waterhouse and to O'Reilly just prior to this have answered the two quick ones that Melbourne were able to get, and so the game now starts to settle back down. Ingerson really all he had to do perhaps was go for the ball, but he lost all semblance of where he was there and missed a lot of it.
So the trainer's busy on the Dockers bench down there with Mark Gale injuring that ankle. Doesn't look too good at the moment. Richard Williams puts it down, 15-7 to 8-6. Still in favour of the Dockers. They've got most of the answers. Woden bombs it long, well inside 50. Good kick. Lyon was a little bit late on the scene. Punch to the front. Finds Farmer. He's kicked 3 already. That's a Barry Crocker out of bounds on the full. And the free kick will be taken down there. Looks like by James Walker will get his first touch for the night. A poignant note. The great grandson of Gordon Coventry. He will probably have his record broken on Sunday by Tony Lockett. Toya back on to replace Gale. Goes in short, should find and does find Clement. The Dockers work it around well. There he is again. Walker. Badly directed kick. Finds the Demon captain in Todd Varney. Had a new haircut, Todd. Got it a little bit short of Gary Lyon. Kicked a beautiful torp just before half time. Schwartz. Now he's in two minds here because he's well outside 50. Might just be able to get the distance. Farmer in the goal square. Always dangerous. Sort of telegraphs that one a little bit. McDonald, Harding, the latter more content to see the ball out of bounds. And the Dockers with a handy lead of 43 points. Mark Doran, what's Mark Gale's problem?
Yeah, he does look in a bit of pain, but he only received a kick to the ankle. That would hurt, no doubt, but it's not bad. It's only a strain to that ankle, so he'll be all right. I just treat him and he'll be back on pretty soon.
Lyon hurriedly towards the top of the square. Toya off hands to Bandy. Feigns a hand pass. Comes back to Wirra in his own defensive goal square. Brings it out towards our commentary side. Foot race here. Arriving first is Rigoni. Can do little except take the ball across the line. So Guy Rigoni has had 15 possessions now as Danaher looks on. So he's starting to lift Rigoni. Is it too little too late? His 29 possessions back in round 2 against St Kilda, the most by a Demon this season, as white hand passes, releasing Viney. Viney 55 metres out towards the opposite pocket. Farmer, awkward half volley. It spills to Walker. Walker from centre half back, floats it out towards the wing. Kick it battles Chisholm. Chisholm knocked it down in front. Waiting there was Harding. The pack descended on him. Missing the ball was Walker. Comes across to Leoncelli now. Leoncelli kicks inside the 50. One man standing and he missed it. Uzo. Getting back is Wirra. Wirra, aided by a good shepherd, comes to Walker. Walker very much in the mix at the moment. Goes out to Prescott, who's been good all night. 97 plays 54. Prescott drives it up towards the wing. Going back was Longmuir. Played it very well. Hand pass back there to a voice. Unfortunately, didn't get to its target. Bandy socket off the ground. Inside the 50. This is O'Reilly, who's been good. Gets it across to Holland. 40 metres out. Kicks down towards full forward. Ingerson and Modra off their fingertips and across the line for a behind.
And the way you call that, Dennis, really depicts just the difference in the sides. Once they cross the wing position, the Dockers are quick and meaningful right towards goals, whereas Melbourne are tending just to hold it up a little bit and chip it round, trying to set up a goal.
Ingerson to Ward. Walker punches to the front again. He might get another possession. No, he doesn't. It's Fletcher's. Thought there was a whistle on play, but the umpire calls play on. Harding does. Kicks up towards Waterhouse at half forward.
Another one on in the square.
If he sees him, he does. Should be a mark. Phoebe gets there late. Ship.
Wow.
That was too easy, wasn't it?
Much too easy, much too easy. And too many of these young Docker players have been able to find that space by themselves in the forward line, particularly in the opening 10 minutes of the game when they set the tone for the match. They found a lot of space, but here they are again with it in this third.
Andrew Ship for his third goal from point-blank range. He likes it and he's got it. All the answers provided by Fremantle, who are heading for their first ever win on the MCG in a premiership match. And the Dockers have broken away, bolted away to a lead of 50 points.
And some real problems for that man, Neil Danaher, that we see here. Clive Waterhouse, he's acres by himself and then turns around and Andrew Ship similarly so and gives the ball off to him. And Andrew Ship really has found a niche in the side. He's been very quick and aggressive in what he's done.
Neil Danaher bemoaning what's been a very lacklustre performance by the Demons. They've been hard to follow this season. A couple of good games, but generally the rule has been poor performances. White missed it, fell at their feet, picked up by Fletcher. Quick whistle and a bounce right alongside the centre circle. Modra hasn't added to his 7. Farmer has 3. Midway through this third term, and the Dockers aiming at their second victory. Well on course. Prescott smothered off the boot. McDonald dug it out. Brilliantly done. Norwich best and fairest last season, and that's why. Touch of class, but ran too far. Smothered off the boot by Gergich. Gergich and Norwich. In comes Ship. Gergich over the ball, slaps it out. Bandy on one knee. Black, aided by that left foot, gets away, pulls it back. A contest in the square. In from the side, Waterhouse. But it's going to be a free kick, I think, to Modra. Or will the mark stand?
He blew the whistle early, didn't he?
He did. I hope it's the mark, because if that was a free kick to Modra, it was pretty soft, because he's the one doing the pushing and shoving. There's nothing in there. And this is where Clive Waterhouse has a real chance to establish himself as a forward in this forward line, going as a foil with Modra.
Waterhouse kicks at his second, and it's good. This game now getting out of reach for Melbourne.
If it isn't already, Dennis. 17-8 to 8-6.
You just can't see where the spark for Melbourne's going to come from. They've worked hard at centre bounces. They've stayed pretty square there with the Dockers in terms of clearances from the centre bounces. But it's just that each time they've gone into the forward line, they've just been so much more effective, and they've had players who have been far more dangerous. Farmer at one end for Melbourne has given them something, but he's a lone hand down there.
Bandy and White to contest the bounce. 8 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Bandy certainly favoured by the bounce. Heaves it out to Black. Waterhouse in front. Has it punched away. Holland. Again Waterhouse. Walsh has got him. Toya. Chisholm, good tackle. Ball jarred free from it. And it's out of bounds at the Dockers left half forward flank. Gale back on his feet, but I think he's heading to the dressing room rather than to the interchange gate. The good news is he's up. It looked rather nasty, that one. White. Big leap over the top. Prescott. O'Reilly. Oh, good mark.
He's given them the contest that they need. Sometimes the ball just is kicked quickly into the forward line up with a bit of height, and a contest is required to be formed so the Rovers can work off it. Stephen O'Reilly's done that, but as in this occasion, sometimes he's actually in the right position to mark it, and his kicking tonight's been very good. I mean, didn't come in with the most accurate stats into this game, 2-5 for the season, but 2 handy goals here this evening, 2 goals won.
Going for the Dockers' 6th of the quarter, and for his 3rd of the night. Number 9 for Stephen O'Reilly. That's not bad. It's home. Well, they're all firing up there, the Dockers on their forward line. And smiles all round. 18-8 to 8-6.
And what's amazing, you can actually hear the Dockers cheer squad. That means that the Melbourne supporters have really packed up their bags. They haven't got much to cheer about at the moment. The 2 big men for the Dockers, being Bandy and O'Reilly, have been very good little cornerstones from which the game's revolved. Bandy's work at centre bounces and around the ground, and now O'Reilly starting to give them something in their forward line.
Going home early.
Yes, so much to like about last season for the Demons, but the crowd making an early exit, some of their fans tonight. Down goes Black, and I think he'll get a free kick. So in danger now of becoming a rout. 116 to 54. And the Dockers have been competitive at various times during the course of this season. But just the one win should relish the next 45 minutes or so. Down towards Modra. Waiting in front. Here's a chance for Ward. Slick hand pass taken by Schwartz. Gets it away. Longmuir. On the wing, this is Viney, and he's on the wing. Running down towards half forward. Sets it up. It floats well inside the 50. And Uze did the body work initially and really reduced it then to no contest. Wirra was off balance, and Uze has a shot at goal from 25 metres out.
And has played as a quality forward for the Melbourne side in previous years. As Dennis said, he moved back to defence last year, had a very good season in the best and fairest count, but tonight they really are looking for goal scorers.
Shanahan back on.
So Uze, who's been very quiet, tugs it way right and through for a behind. Disappointing.
Just really didn't go in with much strength at the kick there. It sort of just wandered in and poked at it with the left foot, whereas really you need to approach the ball with some degree of aggression, be well balanced as you kick it.
Well, Smalley and Shaw, I think, would be they have mixed feelings, I think, out there at the moment. They play Melbourne next week. They know that the D's would get a certain rev up. Parker, he'll get the whistle. He has got the whistle. Has to go short. Terrible kick. Gives it away. Schwartz, 30 metres out. Should have kicked a goal.
Oh, no.
Has kicked it like a bag of wheat. Well, you shouldn't miss those, Terry.
No, I'm happy with the decision there, that he was in close enough to get going, get it quickly. But you can see the captain there, Chris Bond, runs straight up to Shane Parker and say,
What do you say there? Don't kick it to Melbourne.
Kick it a bit longer, perhaps. Yep.
David Schwartz did have the right idea there, Wheels, but when he played on, he just kicked slightly around his body. He needed to straighten up that little bit more.
Chisholm. Harding, ridden into the ground by the tackle. Leon Chally, well, went without the football. Beams goes in solidly. Likewise, he didn't come out with it. And it's all tied up down there about 45 metres from goal. Late in the third quarter, and the Dockers, would you believe, yes, your set is correct, leading by 60 points with 5 minutes to go.
You'd have to have a fair football understanding to be able to tip this sort of a win.
It's often after state games you get a few upsets.
So bounce inside the attacking 50 for the Demons. Schwartz battling hard. He's 40 metres out. Can he do better this time? He missed last time, but this is a beautiful effort on the left foot. Belatedly.
2 goals, 3 he's kicked.
And he's kicked the last 2 for Melbourne, Pete, but in between there were 4 Docker goals, 2 to Waterhouse and 2 to O'Reilly, and that's what's been the answer all night, that whatever Melbourne have got something together, the Dockers have come back and thumped them a little bit harder. Melbourne have only kicked consecutive goals once, and that was right towards the end of the first quarter. So each time they've gone forward, they've had the answers put up against them.
14 kicks to Schwartz, and he's kept it off with his second goal there. They get it out of the centre again. Rigoni, who's certainly been one of their better players in the third quarter. Norrish couldn't handle it. Chisholm can. On to Robertson. Robertson outside 50. Now there's a whistle back here. It's going to be a free kick to Melbourne, I fancy.
I think a push in the back there, Pete, as he kicked the ball.
So he will kick from, well, I guess the area where Beam scored a goal in the first quarter. He still is a left footer. Robertson, you'd say from there too far out to score. Fletcher goes off for a rest. Schwartz, the target, got it. Play on, no mark.
Big call, play on.
Well, there were 2 Melbourne players had their hands on it. He was in front. Let's take a look at it again. Watch Gary Lyon. And a couple of Docker hands here. Fair call, I reckon.
That's a mark. Wow.
Well, what do you reckon, Terry?
The Demons need something. I would have given them the mark.
Hardly a criterion.
Kick it. Long clearing kick lands it at centre wing.
On the other side, Ward's in front out there. There's a bit of time. Clive got there late. This is Chisholm. He's working hard at the moment. Dragged down, gets it away to Matthew Phoebe. Regoni hurriedly smothered by Kickett. And it ricochets across the line.
So what he did, he just attacked where the ball was and got down, got his body in close enough so the kick wasn't smothered a metre off the boot. It was right down low and hard on it. It was very good Dale Kickett.
Boundary throw in outer side, working our way towards three-quarter time. Under 4 minutes to go till three-quarter time. Ball came to the back of the pack. Chance now for Viney. Dragged down. Hand passes, but not in time. He was holding the ball. And the pressure in there initially on Robertson. And then on Viney. Just terrific. There's Norrish. Sending play towards half forward. Michael helps it on its way. O'Reilly has had a wonderful term. Hand passes towards the middle. White charges at the ball. Quickly away to Matthew Phoebe. Phoebe towards midfield and Lyon. Plays on immediately. Woden goes back towards the middle. Schwartz in close to Lyon. Lyon running down towards centre half forward. I think intended for Farmer. Not a good kick. But Beams is sent away on his left foot again. Had more time than he knew. Very high kick. Robertson. Spring heel Jack missed it. Kick it. Great poise. Gets it away to Norrish. Norrish having a good turn. Pops it up to centre half back. And Clem Michael takes the mark. 116 plays 62. The Dockers in total control as the ball comes up towards the wing. Longmuir knocked it down. Lyon gave it back to Longmuir. Now Woden back inside the 50 and Kickett works off his man and takes the mark.
He's done very well, Dale Kickett. He spent the first half on the bench. Now has dropped into that position across half back and he's taken real control in this important third quarter.
Parker at right half back. Lyon off and Simmons on. This is Walker, whom we spoke about before. Certainly a fine pedigree in football terms. Clement at right half back. Shanahan on the forward line. Well, not quite, nearly on centre wing. Yet to kick a goal in his AFL career, which now numbers 150 games. I guess 150 he'd prefer to forget. Kick by Simmons, ill-directed again, finds Harding. Spectacular defender, but tonight again pretty effective. Out to Bond. Bond on Farmer. Now try to outrun him. Bond's got it. Bond's lost it. Farmer nearly had it. It's shuffled to the boundary line. Bond looks for deliberate and is paid.
Gee, I thought that was just a good duel between two players, both playing the game. The umpire, that was a big call.
Well, yeah, it sort of spoiled it a little bit, didn't it, in the end? So Prescott, milestone for him. Game number 100. Waterhouse almost infringed there, pushing Woden. Umpire lets it go and will now ball it up. 62 plays 116 in the closing stages of the third quarter. Just over a minute to go. Sean Woden hasn't missed a game, as I said, since 1997. Stringing them together here like Jimmy Steins did. It's a big call to break that record, though. Bandy, he's been absolutely fantastic. Heath Black snaps. Gee, that's not bad. Modra hasn't got a goal this quarter. He's kicked 7. Chance for Toya. Oh, well, he kicked it straight, but at the wrong opening.
What was impressive about Tony Modra, that he was out there on that contest when the ball was kicked in. He was virtually right alongside the kicker and took off the high ball, and he was quick enough to get to the square and nearly be there to take the mark.
So Ward to bring it in. Scott Chisholm marking the instructions. 117 to 62. Ward short. Guy Regoni in the back pocket. So the pressure will be building on Collingwood. Good in Coventry's record. Could go under on Sunday. Stood for 62 years. And lose that game on the bottom, and Bandy just walks around in front of a Melbourne player in Ward to take the mark 40 metres out. Well, that's as bad as it gets. Or as good as it gets.
Oh, it is as bad. I mean, what have they done? They've played back into the area they shouldn't. You don't bring it back into that danger area in front of the goal, particularly short here. The one-step kick, and big Daniel Bandy. I mean, he is agile, and that's a fair reach on the fella too. He's going to if he wasn't going to mark it, he was always going to get in there and spoil it. He was good enough to mark it.
So after the siren, will this be the ultimate indignity of the third term? Bandy, best on ground tonight, tugs it to the left, increases the lead, but just by a point. So it's three-quarter time, and nothing has gone right for Melbourne. These are dark days for the Demons. They really need to regroup. Bandy's not happy, but on balance, he should be delighted with his effort.
Yeah, I think that's the appropriate facade you put on as you go into three-quarter time. Be disappointed with that, but he can't be disappointed. His personal performance has been exceptional, and so has his side. Damien Drum, 1/4 of football to go.
Yes, looking to become the first Docker coach to win here at the MCG. Three-quarter time, Friday night football. It's 18-10 to 9-8. The term then at the MCG, and the Dockers with a very handy lead. Viney. Outnumbered. Leoncelli, one of the league's best at getting it out of the centre square. Simmons gets a hand pass to Rigoni. Rigoni goes inside the 50 with a long kick. White floating through the air but missed it. Going back is Parker. It spills back to White. He was in the right spot, but the kick isn't correct. It wanders towards the pocket. Luckily, Robertson goes back and marks and then spots Beams.
Well, he'd kick this, you'd reckon.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, that was a much better setup there. They were quickly looking for the space back inside where Ben Beams was able to set himself up. Just as his left foot's been so deadly right throughout, and he was fourth in the best and fairest in the reserves last year, playing off the rookie list. And just this year, right at the start of the year, got the elevation up in round 5 to play senior footy.
So going after his third right here, punches it. And what's he done? He's missed to the near side. What about the Dockers benchmark?
On the Dockers bench, Dennis, Brad Dodd, Brodie Holland, Trent Carroll, and they're still working on Mark Gale, but I don't think we'll see him again now that ankle has seized up a bit.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Big fly down there from Simmons. Couldn't bring the ball down. Norris all wrapped up. It's interesting looking at the quarter-by-quarter scores. The Dockers have outscored the Demons in every term. 6-4 to 3-5, 6-3 to 3-1, and then 6-3 to 3-2. So effectively in each quarter, they've doubled Melbourne's score. Michael up high, taps it down to Parker. This kick out towards centre wing. Simmons lopes after it. Bandy gets there first, hoiks it onto Toya. Toya short of right half forward. Modra didn't get a goal in the third quarter, but kicked 7 before half time. So, well, that hit the post. Little kick off the ground, so one behind each early in the final quarter. That came from Ship. And let's go down to Aussie for the D's bench.
James McDonald, Matthew Phoebe, Paul Hopgood and Gary Lyon.
So Andrew Ship has 3 goals, 1. Ward this time does the kicking in, finds Ingerson, who late in the second quarter, if my memory serves me correctly, had the job on Modra. Now Shanahan getting the Bronx cheer. Geez, they're a bit rough, some of the Melbourne supporters. Harding added the congestion, kicks towards centre wing, and the ball stands on end and just crosses the line. Lace up. 63 to 119. Getting a little cool, but if you're a Docker supporter, you'd be smiling at the moment.
Boundary throw in, directly down in front of our commentary position. Michael works in front. Off hands, Leoncelli dances the ball about 5 metres, and Fletcher slips it with a sleight of hand across the line deliberately, but he's going to get a free kick for a push in the back.
Well, that is insult to injury to the Melbourne fans who see this very clearly, that Fletcher handballs deliberately out of bounds, but they don't get that, and to make it worse, Fletcher gets the free.
Slow start by Fletcher, but now 20 possessions.
Wheels, Adrian had no idea how that free kick was going until he heard the roar of the crowd and the boos. Then he knew it was his.
Ship sends it inside the attacking 50. Modra up very early. Walker hit the pack hard. He was immediately claimed and will have a ball up.
He had a good third quarter, Dennis. He had 6 kicks.
Yes, well, he was taken early in the draft before last at number 6, so obviously he can play. Tough assignment, though, in Western Australia, struggling for a spot. Here's Norris, pulls it back and misses. And you've got to admire the young man, because it wouldn't be easy, a long way from home and family support, but he's won his way back into this team. Now Norwich is cramped up. He seems to be okay. Better him than me. 17 possessions for Jason Norris. Gergich comes away, spots Ingerson. Norwich's season high 31 possessions for the Dockers. That was against Port in round 2. And now Ingerson taking plenty of time up from the back pocket. Floats it towards the centre square. Longmuir to Viney. Viney down towards half forward. Nicely done. Schwartz not so well done. Socket up the ground by Chisholm though. Standing in the road is Bond. Took a long time. Plenty of hesitation. Gave Farmer a chance, and that's all he needs. Around the corner, Robertson goes back with the flight of the ball, and he's marked about 40 metres out on a very slight angle.
Yeah, very courageous play pushing back there from Russell Robertson. When the gap's there and it's tossed up like this, Jeff Farmer does extremely well, turns the ball back Melbourne's way with the tackle on Bond, but then tosses on up, and Robertson going back, you know someone's going to come, and he's stuck with his convictions.
Russell Robertson. Enigmatic player. That's a lovely kick. Goal for the Demons.
So his first. He'd be happy to get that one through. But again, Farmer, he was the tackler on Bond who turned it back. So for Jeff Farmer, he's got himself back into some form, because it had been a bit quiet for Farmer. Just the one goal last start. And has had a couple of games where really hasn't had any influence on the game. But here tonight, being a man alone in actual fact, has really given Melbourne something in their forward line.
Russell Robertson got the goal, and cast your memory back a few rounds, he tapped the ball over the line to give the D's a 1-point victory over Hawthorn. Leon Cherry now to the centre. Woden nearly, still pretty muddy there after the rain we had last week during the State of Origin game between Victoria and South Australia. And Leon Cherry gets himself up from the mire, but full credit to the ground staff. Did a magnificent job. It was a bog last week. You can see the umpire finds it good enough to bounce from the centre wicket area. Shuffled up to half forward. Toya applies a bump. O'Reilly looks for someone to take the hand pass. Fletcher kicks it to the man in front of him. Shanahan onto Chisholm, who started the night on the bench against his old side. Scotty Chisholm. Still he goes. Scotty Chisholm just outside 50. Squares it up to White, who's been noticeable by his absence tonight. Daniel Bandy certainly the better of that duel.
But good work there from Chisholm. When you carry that ball, sometimes it's pretty hard to be able to finish it off, because he has to keep the pace up, because the chase is right there with him from Prescott. It's good work. Chisholm arches the back towards the end, and just in that last yard, poises himself, chips it in well to White.
White. Can I say White on 50? Gets the goal.
Well, what's been a tough night for Jeff White, and it's been a tough couple of weeks. Matthew Allen did a bit of a job on him there the fortnight ago before the State of Origin game, and here tonight he's really had his hands full with Daniel Bandy, and has been moved to full forward by Coach Neil Danaher. He needs to have that in his armoury, that he can go to the forward line and be a problem for opposition sides. He's big enough and he's athletic enough, needs to kick goals each time he goes down there.
So a big night for Damien Drum and the Fremantle Dockers. 18-12, 11-9. Melbourne showing a little more now, but it's too late, of course. Kick it, dragged down, fed it back to Walker. Extricates himself from a tight situation. Boots to half forward. Shanahan knocks it forward. Hurriedly by Black inside the 50. Ship takes the mark, plays on to Waterhouse. Waterhouse run down, slung, and as a result, the kick goes out of bounds in the left full forward pocket. Good chase there. I think it may have been Ward, was it? In fact, it's Walsh.
Waterhouse really has got something for this side. If he can continue to develop consistency, and that's what he's done here, he can really be a dangerous player for them.
Ship over his shoulder. Modra goes back and takes a very clever mark. Wow. Kept his eyes on the footy. Not easy to do in that situation. Had to contort backwards to find the footy. And it found a home on the anchor.
And has he found a home with the Dockers?
No question. Much loved already in Western Australia. He's been a fine ambassador for himself and the club. So Tony Modra going at number 8. 40 on the season. Doesn't normally miss them. Hasn't missed this one.
Well, what an evening it's been for Tony Modra. To say he's been the difference between the two sides in terms of the goal scoring is an understatement, because he has made goals out of seemingly at times nothing. Now this contest here, Ingerson really should have had it all covered, but stumbled at the critical stage. Modra kept his feet. And that's the difference as you get towards the middle of the season with slippery conditions underfoot. Keeping your feet in the contest becomes very important.
Tony Modra gets his 8th. 7 before half-time. At that stage, it looked as though he was going to break the record in this round, currently held by Tony Lockett of 12 goals, 3. That was way back in 1992, but he was held goalless in the third quarter. Didn't get a kick, actually. Fletcher on to kick it. Well, have I spoken too early? Lining up for number 9.
I spoke to Terry Bright before the game about Tony Modra, and he said that even though he's 30 and he's had one knee reconstruction, he's got a very young 30-year-old body. I think we're seeing that tonight, guys.
Yes, it's been a fantastic effort, Aussie, hasn't it? Look at the feeling out there with the Docker players.
I'm sure the record for a Docker in the AFL is Kingsley Hunter. He got 9 goals at Victoria Park against Collingwood. So this will level that.
If he kicks straight, 8-1 already, Tony Modra. From 45, he's got it. It's 9-1 now. Well, what a match for Modra. Terry Wheeler was speaking about his votes at three-quarter time, and you came up with Bandy, and you said, Terry, if Modra gets a couple, he'll be in them as well.
Yep.
3 or 2 though now, I suppose, is a consideration you've got to think about.
Yes, you do. But I really like Bandy's game, and Tony Modra has just been the recipient of some very good work in the midfield, but he has been classy enough to finish it off. And just see the spirit there. He is now coming back from centre half back. He ran after kicking the goal all the way back there to give accolades to his teammates for the work they did.
Fantastic performance from Tony Modra and the entire Docker outfit. Over the ball, Liancelli played it well on the up, got it to Viney, penetrating kick inside the 50, and Uze takes the mark about 20 metres out on a substantial angle. He's already missed one easy one tonight. Viney working strongly back in the middle along with Liancelli. They dug it out, got it down quickly. Wide off balance, but not so Uze. Adam Uze then. 132-75, so the margin 57 points at the moment. Just to pull it back to 51 and or 56.
Gee, that's disappointing.
That is very, very untidy.
And because it's exactly the same kick that he had in the previous quarter at the other end of the ground. So it was on the same side, and that's face says it all. I mean, really, the Demon supporters came here tonight looking for so much. Their side last year rebounded after some losses leading into the State of Origin series and stormed home to make the preliminary final. But just here tonight, there's not much to hang your hat on.
Viney, there's a very good article in the Football Record this week by Peter Hudson, who was last week inducted into the Hall of Fame as a legend of the game, and he speaks about missing goals from shots like that. Players should hang their heads in shame. Hutto never missed too many. See if Schwartz can do a little bit better from this distance. He's kicked 2 goals, 3 tonight. Kicks from 50. Well, there it is again. I suppose it's one part of the game, Terry, that hasn't really improved despite the drop punt in the last 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, that's right, Peter. I mean, players now, they spend so much time on the full range of skills that this one has to have come on.
The old flat punt didn't look much good, but for Hudson it really did work. It's a very good article, so when you get your footy record, read it this week. Another ball up. This is going to be a good night for the Dockers, though, whatever happens from here on in.
Pete, I think another interesting point on what you were just talking about. The Dockers are winning. Psychologically, they're up. They're kicking straight. Melbourne are losing. So, obviously, it's a head game, too.
Thanks, Aussie. Yes, they have kicked it a lot better up forward. Robertson's got it. Now it's out of bounds. The boundary umpire will have it. Liancelli couldn't handle it. So on the bench down there, Gary Lyon looks on, his first game for the year. McDonald next to him. Schwartz certainly missing Neitz up at full forward. Snap at goal from Leon Shelley. And one behind.
Yeah, I mean, Neat's out of the side really as a whole, Pete, and then also to have lost Stephen Tingay and Marcus Seacamp and Stephen Phoebe coming into this game. But really, if Melbourne are going to be a side that play in the 8, even with those players out, they needed to have taken this game, because this is a big task for the Dockers to come over to the MCG and play on a Friday night in a venue they hadn't won before.
We're the short pass back to Parker. Parker squeezes it out and finds Bond. He's up from the back pocket. He kicks towards the wing. Bandy is there. Leads back in the race, does Bandy. Run down by White. Spills across to Viney. He hasn't given up. Todd Viney kicks it back towards half forward. Schwartz, that was a courageous effort. He's marked about 53 metres out.
By who? So I reckon for young Bond to take the big box on like that too, that's not bad.
Uze, nothing doing. Still, when Schwartz went back with the arms above the head, he does open himself up. Well, Fletcher must have been leading. That look says it all. Adrian Fletcher, who started slowly, has really come into this game. 24 possessions now. Likewise, Jason Norrish. Didn't see a lot of him in the first half, but his second half has been very good.
I think actually Fletcher had a stint on the bench, Dennis, didn't he?
Yes, just before three-quarter time. As a kick comes up towards the wing, White reduced to spoiling tactics now. Schwartz, he's tried valiantly. Across to Viney. Too few trying to do too much though. Rigoni on the line of the centre square. Lazy kick off the step, going back, very hard to do. Harding, who took the mark, breaks away. Looping hand pass, releases Prescott. Prescott unloads for distance down towards half forward. Waterhouse had it knocked away by Ward. In goes Ship. He was busy early. Waterhouse still has the ball in front. Clive Waterhouse. Well, he took on the tackler and the ball jarred across the line. Longmuir stayed with it. So a throw in about 60 metres out from the Dockers attacking goal. 8.5 minutes to go, and Fremantle lead it by 56 points.
40-22 the hit-outs. The attendance tonight 19,100 odd. So not a huge crowd, but it's going to be a huge win for the Dockers. Modra takes another mark. Well, can he get the double figures?
And what's been very impressive is just his ability to get out of the block so quickly and be leading his opponent, whether it was Shanahan or Ingerson, right to the ball. He's very quick off the mark, and as we were just told earlier by Richard Osborne, he's still quite a young man physically, even though he's approaching some 32 years of age.
Now this for number 10. I told you earlier, Tony Lockett holds the record for this round, 12-3. He may still get that. So he's now got 10 goals won, Tony Modra.
There's a piece of Docker history right there.
Yep. And really, he can continue to rewrite it for a while, can't he? This is a very impressive performance from Tony Modra. And Dennis, you and I had seen the Dockers quite a few times early in the season. We weren't quite sure whether the relationship between the midfield and Tony Modra had come to fruition. Well, now it's starting to hone in nicely.
Very much. So a record-breaking night for Tony Modra. Congratulations to him. A lot to like when you go and watch the Dockers play when this man is firing, despite the fact wins have been scarce. Here's Viney again out of the centre, inside the 50. Modra's got 10 goals, and the Dockers way out in front. Robertson tracks the ball towards the line. It goes across.
Good break from the centre bounce from Viney, but the work there from Simmons in the ruck, the big fella, young fella in there, very good piece of work hitting Viney on the burst.
Bandy comes down, issuing some instructions, positioning a man wide of the pack. Didn't deliver though. A scramble and a ball up. Bandy was the man who really set it up, and Modra was the icing on the cake, if that makes sense.
Yep, I think that's just about right. So for mine, Bandy's been the best player on the ground because he had to do it when the game was there to be won. And look, now he can just roll along and enjoy it now.
Yeah, and the good early form of Gale, who had to leave through injury too.
Look, all those young players, I mean, the young players they brought in, Carroll, Dodd, Walker and Gale, have all contributed and all been quite exciting in the evening work.
Robertson knocked it down. Leoncelli on his knees, still going. Held by Harding, so a ball up. Just over 7 minutes till full time. So a lot of things have been good as far as the Dockers are concerned tonight. That's not one of them, Gale's injury. Their first win at the MCG, their first player to go into double figures, Tony Modra, and their second win, hurriedly by Schwartz, off target and behind. 77 plays 138. Schwartz has had a lot of the ball tonight.
2 goals forward, Dennis.
27 possessions for a centre-half forward. Now, normally, if your centre-half forward gets 27 possessions, you don't lose by 61 points.
11 marks in that tally as well. So Schwartz he's held his end up, but really the support hasn't been there at all.
Under 7 minutes to go, and historic night for the Dockers. Bandy in front. Over the top was Carroll. Flipped up to Black. Gives it back to Carroll. Off a step, but almost off the side of the boot. Real up and under job. Certainly put the pressure on Harding, who's going to get a free kick against Leon Shelley. Harding at right half back. Brings it inboard. Carroll the target. Gee, it's got to be pinpoint, and it wasn't really. But Carroll, still Carroll, takes on Chisholm and wins the football. Well done, son. Flips it out the back. Tried to get it to kick it. Couldn't do so. Kick it, applies the tackle, and it's going to be a ball up. That was well done. Perhaps the 1%ers that really do count.
I know it sounds old-fashioned, but probably could do with a haircut, Terry.
I'm with you, Dennis, yes. But the boy can play footy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gee, he can. Oh, he's so big and strong now. He's really worked in that part of his body. His upper body strength is very good, and he will be a key defender in this lineup for years to come.
Bounds on centre wing. That's out of bounds on the full from Heath Black. One of the few mistakes that the Dockers have made tonight, really. Kick taken by Beams. Onto Rigoni. Centering kick from him. White the target, and has got it. Against his old club. Perhaps a case tonight of too little, too late. Kicked a goal earlier.
Yeah, well, what he has to do here is to show Neil Danaher that he has got another string to his bow, that if things aren't working out in the middle of the ground for him in his ruck work, that he can be moved forward and can be a focal point. That was a good mark. He's an exceptional talent, this young man, but just tonight and over the last few weeks, it's been a bit tough for him, as it has been for all his teammates.
Still only a youngster, I suppose it's being hypercritical, isn't it? 35 out, directly in front. That looks pretty good. It's a goal. If White kicks his second, so on the scoreboard at least, it's Melbourne's best. Well, no, they've kicked just 3 goals, and they've done that in each of the 3 quarters so far.
Kept it going, and White's got 2 of those, up playing it full forward. And so that's something that, you know, perhaps Neil Danaher can take out of the game for future games. It's really been their ability, the Dockers, to be able to be clean and sharp out of the middle that's been the difference.
Melbourne looking better. No coincidence they're doing better inside the centre square. 21-12, 12-11, and Viney again gets it out. Well, almost smothered off the boot. Well played by Fletcher. Spills across to be taken by Black. Penetrating kick inside the 50. Modra, who's got 10 goals. Ward, the crumb. Hand passes out wide. Hopgood in his 100th. Hurriedly onto the boot. It goes out towards the boundary line. Prescott, who's been steady all night, paddles it towards the boundary line. Surely a Melbourne free out there.
Yep.
Charging in was Ship and got into the back of Longmuir. Longmuir on the outer side. His brother drafted by the Dockers. Chips it around the boundary.
Justin.
This is Ward. Down towards half forward. That's a strong mark by Schwartz, and you've got to admire the way he's played. He's kept presenting tonight. He's made a few mistakes.
Oh, yes.
But he's kept presenting tonight. Waterhouse has got it. Kicks down towards the attacking 50. Bandy's in front. Crashes through. He's growing in stature. He's enjoyed tonight. Shared time with White. Well, tonight, White has been left lamenting in his dust as he goes across to Waterhouse, and Waterhouse is right on the 50. Tough night for Neil Danaher. Now, Waterhouse can get the distance here. Tony Modra is drifting back towards the fence. Clive is going at his 3rd goal. If he gets it, they will have all come in the second half. Matthew Phoebe comes back onto the ground. Brad Wirra is coming off. Jason Norris is back for the Dockers. So Clive Waterhouse from right on the 50 Long kick. Has it got the carry? I think it has. It's another one.
It's number 3 for Clive Waterhouse.
Well, that's very impressive, isn't it? His 3 from a half-forward flank, and Stephen O'Reilly with 3 at centre half-forward. Andrew Shipp jumping in for his 3 from the other half-forward flank. And then in the centre of them all, you have Tony Modra, who's picked up the cool 10. So all the key forwards for the Dockers have been able to contribute inside the game and do their job in the forward line. Melbourne, Schwartz, as Dennis has said, continues to work hard, but really they haven't produced anything in that forward position.
Just over 3 minutes remaining in the match. And a real percentage booster for the Dockers, a confidence booster as well. Simmons tried to flick it out the side, couldn't do so. Farmer finally gets it out, picked up by Longmuir. Robertson and kick it. Ball bounces advantageously for Schwartz. Tries to centre it with that kick. White. Marking contest there with Clement. Neither can bring it in. Norrish, as we mentioned, just back onto the ground. Quick hand pass. Clement again. Leon Shelley, good tackle. Chisholm. McDonald, 15 metres out, snaps it goal and kicks it. James McDonald's first. Only 7 possessions for the night. He has spent considerable minutes on the bench. 13-11 to 22-12. Had a good build-up, Terry, as it turned out.
Yes, it has been. There's ability there just to be able to bring it back in again. Forward lines, if they're going to function correctly, have to really look like defenders in the way they attack the ball and attack opposition players when they get it. So the tackling there for the Demons was very good, turned it back their way, and then able to pick up the goal there through McDonald.
13-11 to 22-12, and Pitch, you've got the record book down there, so maybe worth a peek as to how often Fremantle have gone this high. Not very often. They've gone over 20 goals in a game. Holland has got it now, got it from Walker, plays on, goes inside the 50, in front of O'Reilly, knocked away by Shanahan. This is Hopgood. Hopgood twisting, turning, kicks it out towards the wing. Simmons in front, judged at best. Marks in front of Michael, plays on immediately.
More injury trouble for the Dockers. Greg Harding coming off now with a shoulder.
That's bad luck so late in the game as Walsh kicks, or tries to, inside the 50. Pulled it just a little bit at the last moment when he sensed that Robertson had got free, and Robertson has taken the mark about 45 metres out.
Broken into a sweat trying to check up on that, Dennis.
Sorry about that, Pete. Someone's stolen the record book. Have they? Probably get a phone call if you ever want to see your record book again. And we'll pay the ransom.
See what happened to Harding.
Right on the point of the collarbone there, or shoulder.
They lost Sinclair with a shoulder last week too, didn't they?
Yep. Toya in the back pocket to Norrish. So what about this? Defying the odds. The Fremantle Dockers. Their night in the spotlight. Albeit that's rather shaky bringing it out. Leoncelli on the up, falling to the ground. Robertson emerged with it somehow, but Toya did nicely, sold back into trouble by Norrish. And there was something off the ball there that didn't look too good. Fletcher, meantime, aided by Norrish, who boots it through midfield. Battling in there is Waterhouse, and a whistle. Now, something very untidy happened off the ball there. Just see if you catch it here.
Okay.
Was that all there was? I thought there might have been a bit more.
Well, I can tell you that's their highest ever score against Melbourne anyway, the Dockers. Heath Black dives on it. He's got a few mates in there, and Scotty Chisholm. Holland. Ball given back to the umpire by Peter Walsh. So records all round tonight for the Dockers and Tony Modra. Michael wins it. Slap to the front. That is just a tad high on Troy Longmuir, who will take the free kick at right half back. Longmuir centres it. That's okay. Melbourne trying to add a little bit of respectability to their score. Ragoni up to Leon Cherry. There's the siren. Record-breaking night for the Dockers. A record-breaking night for Tony Modra, and they've won their first ever game at the MCG. Tony Modra kicking 10. Final scores 22-12, 144 defeating a very disappointing Melbourne 13-12-90.
First time we've heard this little catchy ditty at the MCG. One of our favourites, Derek.
There's no doubt about that. I mean, we've seen them over in Perth on numerous occasions when you hear this song going, but tonight they're very, very impressive.
Tony Modra, 10 goals tonight. Here he is with Mark Gora.
It's 10 goals. Been a while since you've done that.
Yeah, just trying to think of the last time I did that. Yeah, no, it was a good feeling.
Obviously very happy right now. It's sort of like a dream, I suppose. You've kicked 10 and you've kicked Melbourne in the backside, if you like you probably didn't think you would have.
Yeah, well, we knew Melbourne haven't been travelling along very well this year, so yeah, we knew it was a big opportunity tonight, especially after a couple of weeks ago against Collingwood.
Drummy seemed to be keep pushing you at every change. Although you were ahead and the game was going your way, this was an important one, wasn't it?
Oh, for sure. I mean, the boys just played fantastic tonight. They fought really hard to keep the ball in the forward line. The on-ballers did well, especially our ruckman Daniel Bandy played well too.
You've hardly raised a sweat, mate.
Nah, I took it easy towards the end there. I was just trying to get the 10. I didn't think I was going to get there for a while.
You didn't seem excited when you got there.
Nah, I'm just happy we won. It was good.
Are you enjoying life with Fremantle now?
Yeah, it's been fantastic over there. We've got 2 wins now, so hopefully we can get a few more before the end of the year.
Well done tonight. Enjoy it.
Mate.
Thanks, Tony.
A young man who had greatness thrust upon him, now something of an elder statesman with the Dockers. It's hard to believe. Tony Modra, a mature age player, and it suits him down to the ground. He's terrific. He's conducted himself so well in Western Australia. A credit to himself and the Fremantle Dockers as they go down to celebrate with their, well, few supporters here, but they've made a lot of noise tonight. Damien Drum has been under pressure, but he would have loved this. They played so well right from the start. They came out fired up, and really Melbourne never in the contest.
I think Tony Modra will be up against his old side next week too, won't he? Yeah. Over at Subiaco. Makes it a little bit more interesting now.
What an acquisition. Virtually just given away by Adelaide. And who can argue that? They went on to win a premiership under Malcolm Blight. But Tony Modra, with so many fans, we're talking about these Docker fans, but so many fans of Tony Modra in Adelaide, of course. His impact on the membership of the Dockers quite pronounced, and not all of it from Western Australia. Some across the border in South Australia.
I guess they're thinking Dennis was influenced by his knee injury, and few players really come back to the form that they displayed before a total knee reconstruction. Some do certainly,
well,
but
especially at his age. But
yeah,
that was the thing, I think, and the fact that they felt they could get by without him. But clearly, he would have been handy, I think, for Adelaide. Perhaps in a limited role, something he wouldn't have accepted. But it's a marriage made in heaven, this one. The Dockers and Tony Modra. They were led tonight by Daniel Bandy, who took it right up to Jeff White. They shared time, as I said earlier, under Jared Neesham. And that really, I suppose, held them both back. Bandy making his point tonight. Some bad news there, Harding with a shoulder. They've got a few injuries. Bond went down early, but he's smiling now. O'Reilly very good after half-time. So full time, it's the Dockers, their second win of the season, home by 54 points.